I now call this regular meeting of the Davenport Community School District Board of Directors to order. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Director Gordon, would you please read the board priorities?
The Davenport School Board establishes the following priorities to ensure the academic success of all students. Provide leadership and direction to improve the overall learning environment in our classrooms, schools, and district, including the health, safety, security, and happiness of students and staff. Direct and support actions, programs, and activities which reduce the impacts of poverty on our students, their families, and our community.
Thank you. Director Poshen, would you please read the mission and vision statements?
Mission statement: enhance each student's abilities by providing a quality education enriched by our diverse community. Vision statement: education that challenges conventional thinking, prepares all students to compete in a global society, and inspires our students, parents, staff, and community to answer the question, what if?
Thank you, Director Poshen. Superintendent Schneckloff, would you please read the goals?
To demonstrate progress. Goal number 4, demonstrate progress and disproportionality. And 5, emphasis will be placed on student achievement.
All right, up first on our recognitions, our fine arts recognitions. I'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Tonight we have Mr. Schwegler, who's going to work ourselves through this. We are incredibly proud of our students and the performances that have occurred. And so to kind of go over that, Mr. Schwegler, our fine arts specialist for the district. So go ahead, take it away. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation to recognize and celebrate our students and staff. And we're going to be celebrating our fine arts students and staff in theater, visual arts, and music tonight. And I'd first like to call up our theater directors, Nicholas Anderson from West, Thea Invold from Central, and Leslie LaCourte from North, if they make their way up to the podium. And first award I want to recognize is Gabby Johnson. West High School was a state thespian officer for the Iowa Thespians as part of the International Thespian Society. She was one of only 5 students in the entire state. So that, we have leaders in all aspects of our student body and in the fine arts as well. So I'd like to turn it over to Thea, who will talk about our next awards.
Hello. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Davenport Central's musical, The Little Mermaid. We were fortunate enough to do this show in front of a very large crowd, and we were awarded by the Iowa High School Musical Theater Association the distinguished scene of If Only. Student awards were Outstanding Achievement for Performance in a Principal Role by Croy Baker, who was our Prince Eric. Outstanding Achievement for Performance in a Principal Role, Gage McAllister, who was our King Triton. Outstanding Achievement for a Performance in a Principal Role, Emily Wynn, who was our Ariel, and she was only a freshman. And special recognitions for performance in a principal role, Jenna Van Hoosier, who was Ursula.
Davenport North also was recognized by the same association for our production of Anything Goes, for this distinguished scene of the same name, Anything Goes. And our Devontae Wesley also received the Outstanding Achievement for Performance in a Principal Role for playing Billy Crocker in our show. A couple of things just to make clear. There are several students recognized by IHS MTA this year, and we also have several students in that top group who are going to participate in the closing medley The performance is going to be aired on Iowa Public TV on June 18th. It is a live event, now post-COVID, luckily, but if you can't, hightail it up to Des Moines with us, you can watch it on Iowa Public TV. That will be later. I don't believe they're going to live stream. I think they're going to record and create a highlight reel. But we also, with these awards, received Triple Threat. This is just something special for the Iowa High School Musical Theater Awards, where these students are invited to come up and compete against lots of students from across the state of Iowa. This means that they had an outstanding performance award and were awarded this additional honor. They will travel up to Des Moines. They will be in their own medley. They will then also have an all-day competition where they're coached by Broadway staff. And then at the end of that day, they find out which two of them will advance to the national awards in New York. So at Davenport Central's Peyton Reese did do that. So this is not impossible for our schools to place a student in the national grouping. So you can see those triple threat competitors up on the screen. Additionally, some of our triple threat competitors were asked to perform in a spotlight medley, which means that on June 18th, they will perform a piece from their shows. So we have Emily, Croy, and Devante who will be doing that, and they are going to spotlight that for you here in just a second. I wanted to just make sure that everyone understands that it sounds really great. They're up for, obviously, some recognition, some scouting, if you want to think about it that way, and lots of scholarship opportunities. But I asked one of our past triple threat kids to summarize what this did for him. Josh Reed, who has since graduated college and is a professional doing film work. But he said, my IHS MTA experience was one that I wasn't expecting, but it was something I needed. It gave me the confidence to strive for more, not only in fine arts, but in my life. Being in Des Moines for the high school showcase was something I'll never forget. Young adults from all over Iowa who loved my work as much as they loved their own, and numerous staff who just were around to say good job. And I walked away with an award my first time being there. He says, the IHS MTA is valuable on so many levels and can truly change one's outlook on life with the experiences they create for students. So the value is larger than just the competition and the experience itself. If I could have our three spotlight artists come on up. Devante is going to start us off.
Yeah, and
Performance from Anything Goes.
so you're going to hear from Devante, and then Croy and Emily will do a duet, and we're having them here at the beginning of the program tonight because Emily and Croy have a vocal music concert at Central. There's always something going on. So this is a good warm-up for them. But here's Devante. And as I understand it, they're going to be playing with a professional orchestra that has professional arrangements in Des Moines. And so it's a true kind of Broadway experience. So next we'll move to our visual art. But thank you very much, theater department. And I'd like to recognize our art teachers that are here tonight and have them come up to the podium. Dave Schaefer from West High School and Renee Ott from Central High School. And they will take over explaining the different awards and the significance.
All right, so thank you for having us here. I get the honor to speak about our high school Quad City Arts Invitational. So you guys can see we have a huge amount of awards that between the high schools here in Davenport that we won. So each spring, the art teachers have the opportunity to select 5 of their top artists to put in the show. And during that competition, it is judged by multiple judges, galleries, people from our community that come in to give awards. This year we received 19 awards between all 3 of our high schools, and out of the total 15 high schools, there were 40 awards, and we got 19 of those. So I think one more and we would have been half. So I guess we can all set goals. So I think that was a huge honor for us. So if you guys look at all those awards up there, we were told just to kind of display the awards. You'll see a couple pictures of some of the other students' artwork, but this is a highly prestigious show where the students are all framed and get to put price tags on their work and have it up in a gallery for a month. So we just recently took that down, and one of our students was even selected as the People's Choice Award. So throughout that month, you could vote online, and we had a student that won that. So.
So then we also have All-State Awards, and it's basically a portfolio competition that awards the top high school artists and art programs in the state. So it's just state. So 11th and 12th graders are invited to share their portfolio with juror professionals. They are eligible to submit a portfolio of 10 images of their work and an artist statement. These portfolios are judged by college professors, working artists, and the top 20% in each class. So it is ranked by class. Are selected as the class's all-state art team. And they'll be honored in Des Moines at the Arts Center. It's virtual this year again, though, just due to COVID restrictions. So these students will receive scholarship offers, a personalized plaque, super cool, like big poster. It's awesome. Oh my gosh, I wish I had one. It's very cool. So our top 3 artists are Megan Cruz, Laurel Hines, and Jackie Vernon are from Central. And then the one that placed on top is Laird Demoni. Is that how you say that? Yeah. Demoni. And then he, unfortunately, was a foreign exchange student. And I'll let Dave just speak to him because that was his student.
So yeah, unfortunately, he went back to Kosovo last week, got to build a great relationship with him. And we just found out days before he got on his plane to fly back to Kosovo. So it was very exciting for him to end his whole year here in Davenport schools with being placed as an all-state member. First time in, I think, 7 years that West had an all-state member. So
super awesome. And then I would like to invite Megan Cruz, Laurel Hines, and Jackie Vernon up just so that they can just talk to their amazing artwork that these students have produced. The first one up will be Megan Cruz, and she just is a bubbly personality, which I'm sure that she will totally exude. So here you go, Megan.
So my essential, overall topic for the All-State portfolio was having a mind of a child, where I would take memories and just everyday things from my childhood and try and make them much as childlike as possible, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, but the artwork that's displayed right now is like based off my childhood home. And yeah, but like my cat's in there, my squirrels that I feed a lot, and yeah. But yeah.
Our next one up will be Laurel Hines. Laurel is just amazing. She is great at clay. She's great at 3D. She's great at painting, drawing, and so she just is really quite a talent that we're very lucky to have.
Thank you. For my AP investigation, which is what this piece is for, it was on fruit symbolism and how I can use that to represent life events. And so pomegranates represent death, which is this piece, and it was the final, because death would be the final event in your life. So that is
And then our last All-State is Jackie Vernon, who just is amazing at any time that I talk with this student. She just brightens up my day, and I am just really happy that I can share her with you. So this is Jackie Vernon.
Hi. For my All-State portfolio, I chose my best pieces, which I included this as one. My AP portfolio, my subject was discomfort, and I wanted to explore things that would make my audience uncomfortable or at unease. And so I chose topics that were lighthearted as well as deeper subjects like religion and things that are very personal to society.
Another, for a second year in a row, Central was also awarded the top, or basically the top 3 scoring schools are awarded the prestigious title of All-State Art Programs. And so for the second year in a row, Central was definitely number one. Number one, man. Yep, and it was really awesome. It's super pumped. We always have like these schools that we kind of go back and forth with, and it was PV, and now it's the Bondurant, but we got them this time. Yeah, so it was really cool. And it's all thanks to these artists and then all the other ones too. This was Youth Art Month, and our Iowa art educators really do a lot with this just to promote art. So this was a statewide celebration and an exhibit of student artwork. Winning art pieces were displayed at the Iowa Youth Art Month show that was virtual, but then some of our students got to put it into the state capitol, and they got to meet Governor Reynolds and all of that. So these are just 2 of our students from Davenport Community Schools. Mia McCreary, she got actually 2 pieces selected, which were these 2 right here. The one on the left is big scale. They had to fill the kiln that time. They don't always like that challenge, but it's fun. And then the other one was actually one of our CAA students from Sudlow. So it was on display for, I think, the whole month. So that was really prestigious for them. Scholastic Art in Writing Gold Key winners. Scholastic Art and Writing really is one of the nation's longest running, largest, most prestigious recognition programs for creative teens. Iowa is its own region, and it's held at the Bell and Blank Center. And they do honor Gold Key, Silver Key, and Honorable Mention. American Visions nominee, American Voices nominee. Those are we have had students get those, and they're very prestigious. They're very hard to get. Our Gold Key winners are automatically considered for national awards as well. So that'll actually go on, and if they make if they make a gold medal, they actually get recognized in New York at the Carnegie Hall. We've had students do that as well. So Corbin Hoffmeister, illustrator, Jackie Vernon, once again coming back, right? And then our lovely CAA students that we've had that are still those students as well. Our Bram Basher Scholarship, this is since 2000. The Bram Basher Scholarship Program has awarded $850,000 to graduating high school seniors in Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois for the arts programs. That is amazing scholarship and very prestigious. To be considered for one of these 4 prestigious $12,000 scholarships, senior students go ahead and they apply. They must submit an application, a high school transcript, 2 letters of support, a portfolio of 12 works, and just 12 works for students this age is very tough to do. These scholarships will be spread out through 4 years of college, which is really amazing, especially if they're going into art college and stuff, because those are a little bit more spendy. We had Eleanor Rubalcava Hernandez, Martha Brands, and Grace Hopkins were our three. Davenport got 3 of those 4 scholarships, which is pretty awesome, dude, for sure. And then Corbin Hoffmaster definitely got a honor mention. So very prestigious, very cool. And then this is Emerging Excellence Event and Awards. This is geared towards 9th grade students. DCSD was the only district in the state of Iowa to host Emerging Excellence. This is definitely due to CAA and through Colleen Tomlinson and Heidi Hernandez really pioneers this, kind of event that really helps our students sort of grasp sort of this artist, way of thinking. So, oh my gosh, I can't even name them all, but all of those wonderful CAA students definitely participated. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Nick DeGioia as well as our as a high school art educator.
So just bringing Nick up here, you can see up there a national recognition he received in the Kappan, which is a professional journal for educators. It's not just for artists or whatever. So it's quite outstanding. And congratulations, Nick. And you've got a few words you want to say too.
I have a few words. Thank you. Mainly because Steve put my name on the bottom of these sheets. Anyhow, I thank you guys for supporting the arts. That's why I came over here to teach. I've taught for 48 years, and Davenport is fantastic. And I'm so proud of my students. They got up here, and they didn't sound as nervous as I am right now, so that works. As a speaker, I'm not the best, but I like to express myself through my art and the visuals, and that's what I try and give my students. And it's just a proud moment to see them doing so, like the college scholarships that they win. That amount is not correct. It should be about $300,000 in art scholarships this year. Last year, they were awarded over $2.5 million in art scholarships. So they've been doing quite well. The majority of these awards are offered after the student submits a portfolio of their work to the college for a review. We have Paris Bowman from West received $112,000. Liart Demoni from West received $24,000. Grace Hopkins, $12,000. Martha Barnes, $6,000. Victor Rubalcava Hernandez, $32,000, and Corbin was offered $72,000 at the Corbin Hoffmaster at the Cleveland Institute of Art. Definitely, there's the Brand Bouchard scholarships that Mrs. Ott already mentioned. Those are totaling up to help these kids through school. A lot of these students get to college and they can choose an art school, and it is actually less expensive than going to a state school by the time they get their scholarships. And one thing I'd like to add to this is careers in art are plentiful. There's a lot of them. Yes, there's always going to be students that won't be getting a career in whatever field they want to go into. But through the years, I have hundreds upon hundreds, and Dave and Mrs. Ott and everybody, we've talked. They have so many students also. It's a proud moment when the student comes to you after they have a career and say, I'm living in heaven. This is what I'd like to do the rest of my life. I enjoy my job. I think that's a wonderful thing. Hopefully all the students here can someday, like all of us teachers, enjoy our jobs. At least I sure do, that's for sure. Mrs. Ott?
And just real fast, I did just get a hold of some students that I just wanted to let you know that are doing amazing in the career paths that they have chosen that have went up through our schools. I went up through West High School. I was a Davenport graduate as well. And so a lot of them, like Isabel Kern, Brandon Leon, Emily Beck, Janice Maddox, like they are doing some good in the world. So just so you know, like keep the arts programs going for sure. So thank you.
And just one of the reasons I love my job, working in the arts. Talented teachers and really talented students. Next, we're going to go into the music world here. And last time I was here was December 13th. And since then, of course, a lot has happened. And part of that, and I know many of our board members attended some show choir performances. And just to quickly go over some of these accomplishments, Central's Prep Show Choir Blue Vibrations had a great season, and caption awards included Best Show Design and an Outstanding Performer. So, you know, it's great to have these groups that feed into our varsity groups. Central's Varsity Show Choir, Central Singers Incorporated, finished the season with 4 first-place finishes in Class 4A, 3 Grand Champion Awards, and 1 runner-up. 4 Best Vocal Caption Awards, 2 Best Choreography, 3 Best Caption Awards, and 3 Best Male Soloist Awards for sophomore Jack Stremlow. Our North Prep Show Choir, oops, thank you. Our North Show Prep Choir Center Stage placed 3rd in the prep division at Bettendorf and Cedar Rapids, Jefferson, and also placed 5th at Western Dubuque, and included Outstanding Performer and a couple outstanding performers. North Varsity Short Choir, Northside Establishment, attended 5 invitationals and main finals in all 5. And you can see the different events they attended there, and here again, caption awards were Most Entertaining Show, Best Bass Clef Soloist, Devontae Wesley, who you got to hear tonight, and they placed 4th in 4A, was named first runner-up in Cedar Rapids, Jefferson. So just an outstanding season. The show choir at West Connection, has grown from 40 members to 70 members, and under the direction of Laura Engels and Nick Anderson. And in 4 competitions, their scores earned a finals performance for 3 of those. So they are an up-and-coming group. In late February, we had the DCSD Elementary and Junior High Instrumental Music Solo Festival, which was held at North High School with 14 rooms of band and string solos performed by students grades 5 through 8. Nearly 700 students participated in the day's event, and this event was run by the North High School instrumental music staff, students, and parents. Students received comments, ratings, and ribbons from 14 clinicians. And they are hardworking students. And one of the reasons we have this event is to feed into the High School Music Association Solo and Ensemble Award, contest that's held at West High School every April. And you'll see there the awards that were given, and as we had instrumental students selected as Best in Room, the West Percussion Quartet, and in vocal, the Central Mixed Vocal Ensemble, Bass Clef Ensemble, Mixed Ensemble, and 9th grade soloist illustrator all went to Ames to perform their solo and ensembles. Then just in the first week of May, we had the large group contest, and that's held at Bettendorf High School, where Central earned superior rating in orchestra, wind symphony, 9th grade concert band, and chorale, an excellent rating in wind ensemble symphonic band, 9th grade chorus, treble chorus, and bass chorus. And North received superior ratings in orchestra, concert chorale, combined bass voices, excellent for 9th grade orchestra, concert band, singers, combined treble voices, and a good rating for their varsity singers. And West received an excellent rating for orchestra, concert band, and chorale. And involved with all of this, it's a lot of hours of practice, a lot of dedication by students and parents in support. Now I'd like to have come to the podium Alex Wilga, who is Director of Bands at Central High School, who received national recognition by Yamaha 40 Under 40 Award. And so he's going to come up and explain about that, and you can see come on up, Alex. The selection was based on proposing and implementing new and bold ideas, offering innovation and imagination, achieving plans and objectives, establishing and growing or improving music education in their schools and communities. So Alex is going to talk a little bit about that and what it means, and then go over some of the awards that we have coming up here.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for bearing with us. Mr. Schwagler says it's going to be a 15-minute presentation. I told him in my office this morning that it was going to be about 30. So let's see how long I can drag it out to hit my number. Thank you. The 40 Under 40 Award is a testament to the support from the school board, the support from the administration, the support from my colleagues, and the hard work that our students and parents put in every single day. Just looking back at the large group ratings for all three high schools, there are plenty of schools in the state that would be ecstatic for getting a 2 for the first time in 60 years, and our programs consistently achieve higher than the state average. It is a testament to the support and to the tradition of our district and our fine arts programs to have the success that we do. I was actually speaking with Mr. Ehlinger last week that it's become expected that our ensembles achieve at the level that they do at all three high schools, which is kind of a cool place to be. It is the expectation that they are going to be placing and making finals at show choir competitions and winning marching band competitions and getting 1s and 2s at state contests and taking groups to the Best in Center showcase at Iowa State. And that is a cool thing that other districts don't get to say just for one school, much less 3. So a huge thank you to my colleagues at Weston North and our fantastic junior high and intermediate music, junior high and elementary music programs for everything that they do for us. Along those lines, Central hosted the Iowa High School Music Association Jazz Festival in January. West top band and Central's top band both got straight 1s, and Central's second jazz band got 2s as well. Something that doesn't happen very often. In fact, the last time it happened was 1998, that a band from Davenport gets invited to the Iowa Jazz Championships. The state of Iowa is broken into 6 regions. We are in Southeast. There's Northeast, South Central, North Central, Northwest, and Southwest. And 2 bands from each division get selected to the Iowa Jazz Championships based upon their placement at their district level. And then 3 bands are selected at large based on their other competitions and what the committee of college jazz professors see as fit. And Central was picked as one of those 3 at large. It's the first time that a jazz band has made jazz championships from Davenport since '98. It's the first time in a long time since a band in the Quad Cities has made it to jazz championships. And not only were they one of the 15 bands selected, but they actually placed. Jazz Championships announces the top 8 placements for the bands there. And Central's Jazz 1, under the direction of Brian Ziglis, finished in 8th place, which is the first time that we've placed since 1992. It's a huge, huge deal. So congratulations to those students and their director. Last week, we were at the Iowa Bandmasters Association conference, and we had a student from Sudlow selected to the all 8th grade Iowa Honor Band, and that was Ethan Peterson, a fantastic trumpet player. And our Davenport Central's Wind Symphony was selected to perform at IBA. IBA selects 3 4A bands every year to perform at IBA. It's a very rigorous audition process, making lots of recordings and submitting those. And it is a huge honor to get selected. And this is the 3rd time since 2013 that Central's top concert band has been selected to perform at IBA. Yay, go team. Awesome. I'm kind of feeling like Nick here. There's just so many things with my name at the bottom that I get to talk about. In April, the first week of April, Central's Winter Guard competed in their final show of the season at the Midwest Color Guard Circuit Championships, and our Winter Guard placed in second in their class, which is a first for us, and it's the first time that has happened since the 70s for a group in Iowa. Not just Davenport, but in the entire state of Iowa, that there's a medalist in the Midwest Circuit Championship. So congratulations to their instructor and that wonderfully talented group. Is this my last one? Yeah, it's my last one. Finally, the National Association of Music Merchants, also known as NAM, awards Best Communities for Music Education and Support Music Merit Awards every year to communities that they find deserving of recognition for their support, and schools specifically that show a commitment to music education. And Davenport Central was fortunate and lucky enough to be named a Support Music Merit Award this year. This is the second time in 3 years that we have been named a Support Music Merit Award winner. We are the only school in the state of Iowa to receive this designation. And next Tuesday at 6 p.m. on the band field for our final concert, Yamaha and West Music will be here to to present an award from the National Association of Music Merchants for that distinction. Thank you so much for all of your support. I'm going to keep going. We as a district are a nationally and internationally recognized district for our music programs. You're going to hear some really cool things about what West did a few weeks ago. It is truly a wonderful place to be, and because of, I'm going to say, the last couple of years where we've had to band together as a district, and that was not a pun. I did not mean to say band together. I think it has trickled down into our programs. I watched both performances of West live on Facebook, and they're still there if you want to go see something cool. Their performance at Iwo Jima and their performance at the Steps of Lincoln Memorial. Sorry, I'm taking some of your stuff. We support each other across our music programs. We are never competitive with each other. When one of us succeeds, we all succeed. And because of that, we've been able to build our music programs into something that is a force to be reckoned with. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your support.
I'd like to now call to the podium Nicholas Anderson, is a West High School music department educator. And he's going to introduce our next student speakers.
To piggyback off of what Alex said, just as proof of supporting each other, I am Nick Anderson, the Director of Choral Activities at West, but I'm here to introduce two of my students who are both choir and band members to give you a little bit of information about the Davenport West band trip. Today we have Claire Lotspeech, who is a junior and will be one of our drum majors next year, and Peyton Flynn, who is a senior and will be attending the University of Iowa.
All right, so hi there. As he said, I'm Peyton Flynn. This year we were given the honor to travel to DC to perform at the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln Memorial, which was a huge honor because one band from each state gets selected. So we were super excited about that. We traveled all the way down there. As Mr. Wilga said, we performed at Iwo Jima and the Lincoln Memorial. But I felt as though this trip wasn't just about playing the music or getting a trip just down there. I felt as though we had a great experience meeting people just like us from all over the state with the same exact drive for music and the same love for music. So we met people from Massachusetts, Alaska, Arizona, Georgia, and there were more, but there were a lot. So I felt as though that was a really exciting way to spend the end of my school year and just really meet some really cool people who feel the same way about music as I do.
And as a whole, our band was just so grateful and privileged to go to this, because not only did we get to work with a guest conductor, but we also got to work with people who have the same drive and passion for music as we do. And it was just amazing to be in front of the Lincoln Memorial, looking out on the reflecting pool, just to soak it in and just play music and have fun like we always want to. Thank you.
And this brings us to our last slide, college music scholarships. And you see Samantha McDonald from Central High School has a partial tuition non-major scholarship on viola to UNI. And Lily Jewell, Central High School, a full tuition scholarship on viola for music education at DePaul University in Chicago. So that's a tremendous accomplishment there. And Rebecca Reverts from North High School received a $3,000 music dollar scholarship for St. Ambrose University. So, you know, and there's more to come in. You know, this is an ever-changing list. And we're, you know, proud of our students for their accomplishments and what they continue to do after high school here in Davenport. Thank you very much for your support of fine arts, and we'll continue to try to do better next year.
So if you wouldn't mind, all of the students and teachers that are here, if you would please come up, stand behind the school board here, and Mr. Vondren's going to take a picture of this. So if you are a student that spoke or a student that were just here, we're going to get to the scholarship people in just a second. Please come up and stand behind the school board, and we'll get a quick picture. Yep, come on up. Teachers as well. Come on, Mr. Schaefer. And company. Mr. Wilgo, come on. Yep, just stand alone. Are there too many? We're going to have to do this kind of for the next one. Okay.
Up next, we're going to switch the agenda a little bit, and we're going to do all of the scholarship winners, because I appreciate you all standing in the back for so long. I didn't realize it was going to be that long, or we would have did it a little bit differently, so I apologize. Am I turning it over to you? The floor is yours.
Now it's on. Okay, thank you. My name is Amy Wells, and I'm the Executive Director of the Davenport Schools Foundation and a proud graduate of Davenport Central High School. In 1990, the Davenport Schools Foundation began its trusteeship for scholarships with its first scholarship, the Helen Poling Scholarship. Today, the Foundation Scholarship Committee oversees more than 50 different scholarships, and this year we awarded over $95,000 to graduating seniors at North, Central, West, and Mid-City, some of which are recurring scholarships. Our largest scholarship is $20,000. Our smallest scholarships are $500. We had nearly 75 applicants for scholarships awarded to more than 50 students. Some scholarships have multiple winners. The criteria for most of the scholarships includes outstanding academic performance, extracurricular activities, community service, GPA. Several are based on financial need, and several are specific to two-year colleges or skilled career trades. And at this time, I'd like to ask the students to come forward by schools. We're going to start with Central. Bring your flags or bring your balloons. Yep. The students are no longer in alphabetical order, so I will ask them to do a wave if they're here when I announce their name.
And Amy, if you would just have them come stand behind us. And
Yep, that's what they're doing.
Perfect. Thank you.
From Central High School, we have Solon Osberger, who was awarded the Mary Elizabeth Sievert Scholarship of $1,950 and the Buttleman Arbisier Scholarship of $500. We have Clarissa Balk, thank you, won the Central High School Hall of Honor Scholarship for $1,500. Colton Bartels, who was a student that had to leave for a music concert, or no, he's here. I'm sorry. Won the Darrell Spons Educational Award of $1,250. Lois Blackman won the Class of '59 Scholarship of $1,000 and the Central Juergens Hall of Honor Scholarship of $1,500 and the Juergens Women's Athletic Academic Scholarship of $1,000. Caitlin Carr was awarded the Jason Blair Roberts Scholarship of $1,000. Renee Clemenson was awarded the Michaela Rose Duvall Scholarship of $500. Isabel Crichton was awarded the Betty Nelson Technical Scholarship of $600. Sadia Daramopol was awarded the Hane Fujiwara Weiss Music Scholarship of $4,000. Bern Hetzler was awarded the Class of '64 Educator Award of $2,000 and the Carol Herring Education Award of $600. Kyle Hopewell received the Jerry Juergens Men's Athletic Academic Scholarship of $1,000. Kyle Luck received the Jack King Music Band Award of $1,500. Adriana Mayfield received the Jason Blair Roberts Scholarship of $1,000 and the Central High School Hall of Honor Hester Award of $1,500. Karen McDonald received the Jane Grady Award of $5,000 and the Central Hall of Honor Fisher Award of $1,500. Peter McDonald received the Hane Fujiwara Weiss Scholarship of $4,000. Natasha Posey received the Central High School Class of '79 Scholarship of $1,000 and the Central Hall of Honor for Meyer Scholarship of $1,500. Reagan Saxton received the Central High School Hall of Honor Fisher Award of $1,500. Maitri Shikandre received the Jerry Tallman Women's Athletic Award specific to tennis of $1,000. Corbin Samatovich received the Lisa Arbisier Award of $500 and the Central High School Hall of Honor Gronenboom Award of $1,500. Carter Sullivan received the Helen Poling Award of $1,200 and Tobias Wood received the Paul Johnson Scholarship of $724. That concludes our Central Awards. Just stay there. Next, we'll announce the North High School Awards, if North would like to come forward. And again, we've lost the alphabetical order, so we'll just wave as I call your name. From North, we have Peyton Cozens, won the North Music Award of $500. Giovanna Foster received the Clyde Mayfield Award of $750. Montel Diego received the William Wisely Wounded Warrior Award. Emily Giesel received the Helen Poling Award of $1,200. Peter Fan received the Robert and Doris Blackburn Engineering Technical Career Scholarship of $2,400. Jordan Snar received the John Lee Educational Scholarship of $500 and the Carol Herring Educational Award of $600. Marissa Stolfa received the Catherine Bell Tate Award of $20,000. Mia Tatum received the Clyde Mayfield Memorial Scholarship of $750, and Madison Wardlow received the Carol Herring Educational Award of $600. And that concludes our North High School awards. And from West, if we could bring the West students forward. From West, we have Madeline Barnes, received the Marie Link Powell Education Award of $1,000. Jacob Patterson received the Betty Nelson Technical Award of $600. Sarah Bernick received the Mary Means Educational Award of $2,000. Annalisa Burke received the George Weiss Memorial Award of $500. Riley Aaron received the Helen Poling Award of $1,200 and the Carol Herring Educational Award of $600. Peyton Flynn received the Jan Mutum Educational Award of $10,000 and the West Music Scholarship of $500. Mackenzie Harland received the Brian Kepi Memorial Scholarship of $1,000. Elise Nelson received the Friends of West Award of $1,000 and the Jack Hudson Memorial Scholarship of $1,000. Ty Wynn received the Kohlberg Lowen Scholarship of $4,000. Caitlin Powell received the Darrell Spons Educational Award of $1,250. And Dominique Steverson received the Davenport Schools Minority Scholarship of $1,000. And before we conclude, I'd like to ask Marissa Stoffel to step forward. Thank you. Marissa has received the $20,000 Catherine Bell Tate Scholarship. It's an annual scholarship of over $5,000 per year for 4 years. It is given to the son or daughter of a full-time Davenport School District employee. Additional criteria include outstanding academic performance, extracurricular activities, and community service. Marissa's mother is Iris Williams. Are you in the house? Thank you. Iris is an 8th grade science teacher at Williams. She has taught in the school district for 17 years and several years before that in Chicago. The scholarship, the Catherine Bell Tate, is named in honor of Catherine Bell Tate, who was a former 4th grade teacher at McKinley School who gave her students a love of learning and is funded in memory by her family. This year's winner, Marissa Stolfa. Ralph Tate, who is the primary donor to this fund, when he read Marissa's application, stated, "Once again, I am impressed with the young person who has been selected. Hard to imagine a more worthy recipient. I hope that Ms. Stolfa has a great experience at the University of Iowa." With that, and that concludes our scholarship winners. And
Parents, as soon as Mr. Vondran gets a couple photos for us, feel free to stand up and take some photos. This is a huge opportunity for your kiddos.
go back to a blank screen? Oh, shoot, too late. Oh, that's fine.
Well, thank you so much for that, Amy. We know that's always one of our favorite days of the year, so thank you for your hard work. Also, do you have any of your board members that are in here right now? If so, would you please have them stand? I thought I saw. No. Well, we just pass our gratitude on. Please stand if. There she is. Okay. Well, please accept our gratitude on behalf of the school board and our administration. So thank you very much.
It's weird seeing the room from this end. All right, here's your favorite part. We're going to acknowledge all of our student board members. So when I call your name, if you come up, I'll shake your hand. I'll have you step in front of the board table, and we'll do an awesome photo op with you. I offered it to Linda, but I pulled the president card on her. Matre Shirkani. Did I say that right? Almost. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Adriana Mayfield. I'm going to get this one right. Brianna Alazaziak? Brianna Alazaziak. Oh, thank you. Sarah Bernick. I should have made Linda do it. Thank you very much. And then we do have a couple student board members that are not here tonight. Gabriella Swales and Jamar White. I don't know if you all know this, but our student board members spend a lot of time with us, as well as doing all their after-school activities and things like that. So we greatly appreciate them. This bunch has been a huge advocate for the students of the district and things like that. So we appreciate all the discussion and everything they bring to us. So thank you all very much, and they're waiting on me for the photo. Student board members, the floor is yours if you would like to speak on behalf of your time on the board. Don't everybody jump at once.
I'll go first. I just want to thank the board and the district for really just like opening my eyes within the time that I've been here. I wouldn't have known probably 80% of the things that go on within the district if I wasn't here, and the issues that you guys and the district faces. And I think that's really important for student involvement too, that other students can get to know kind of their district, and if they're not old enough to fight the issues.
Basically the same thing Sarah said. Thanks for having us here and listening to us. It's a big learning experience. I did not know all the things that the district pays for. The first time I ever saw like the monthly expenditures, I was like, what? So I learned a lot about the community and everything that's going on in the district. I'm really proud to be a 12, almost 13-year student.
Just to kind of copy off them, I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of the student school board and allowing me to sit in on all your guys' meetings. At first, this was a little intimidating for me, especially when we had our first meeting and kind of talked about like open forums. I didn't know what to expect just because everything can be, everybody's ideas are different. Like they said, I never realized how much work you guys put into us and everything behind the scenes, and I really want to thank you guys for that, and all the time you guys just spend pretty much doing everything for us. Thank you.
Just like them, thank you so much for this opportunity and having us all here. It's truly like a unique opportunity, and I'd also like to say just how like eye-opening it was. I particularly enjoyed hearing the different presentations, like how we had fine arts today, or like hearing from the tag department or people from the community. I thought it was really eye-opening, and I didn't realize just how much goes on within our district. Like I know we do a lot of things, but just how amazing people are here. It was really great to learn about what everybody's doing. So thank you.
Thank you for your service and spending your Monday nights with us. For everyone in the audience that were here for the presentations, you will not offend us if you get up and leave as we go on in our agenda. I didn't want you all to think you had to stay for the whole entire thing. If you want to leave, you're more than welcome to. All right, up next we will go on to presentations. I'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Thank you. As a part of our regular presentation cycle, we are going to be reviewing our ELPA, Migrant Seal of Biliteracy, and ESL updates. And I'll turn that over to Jim Van Fleet to get us started.
We do hope you stay for a little bit. We do have one more student group that we're going to recognize in our presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to Ashley Schaefer and Melissa Trimble, who are going to kick us off, and then I'll be back.
So, hi, I'm Ashley Schaefer. I'm the World Languages Innovator, teach French and Spanish in the district. We're going to kind of do things a little bit backwards because I want to talk about our amazing kids who have earned the seal of biliteracy. That, by definition, they are biliterate. They can read, write, speak, and understand in English and one other language. It may be a native language. It may be a language that they have learned entirely within Davenport Community Schools. So it's a really awesome achievement. It recognizes a completely different kind of kid. They're not all 4.0 kids. They're not all the athletic kids. They're just all around great kids who love languages. We do have a couple of goals within our department. My goal is always to be the best. That's just kind of how I operate. But each year we try to get 15% more kids to take the test. We can't get kids to pass it if we don't take it, right? And my overall goal, the first real big goal that I want to meet is I want 10% of all of our kids who take a language within Davenport to get that seal. So we're looking at trying to get up to 50 kids a year getting that seal. Pretty lofty, but we can do it. It's doable. We can do it. So just to reiterate, it is a demonstration that these kids are literate in both English and any other language. This is a really big deal for our kids. It's really a great way to value either the language that they brought in, their culture that they brought into our district, or just the culture that they're learning within our district. It gives them a great 21st century skill. There's not a single employer that doesn't love having people who are literate or fluent in another language. We also, with this seal, can provide students with college credit depending on the college. It satisfies their language requirement a lot of times. And we do right now in our community have students working, and their sole qualification for their job, other than being awesome, was they had that seal of biliteracy. So we have some of the translators we actually use in the district, and Genesis Hospital is using, are graduates of Davenport who have the seal of biliteracy, which is pretty amazing. They make pretty good chunk of change while they're working their way through college. So it's a great thing for our kids. So today, and I really want to change this number. Just an FYI, numbers are coming in every day. We're testing kids. I'm testing kids every day. I need to add one. We now have 82 seals of biliteracy over the last 4 years. That makes 20 DCSD seniors this year. And just to clarify that, a student can earn the seal of biliteracy anytime between 9th and 12th grade. So we could have a freshman who tests out of ELL. They test proficient in English as a freshman, and they have the native or heritage skills or even learned within our district. They can test as a 9th grader. We just can't recognize them officially until they are a senior. So 82 seals over 4 years, not bad. This program is only 4 years old. So we were one of the first districts in Iowa to jump on it. It was signed in 2018. The spring of 2018, we started right away in 2019. So in 4 years, 82 students, 20 of them this year. So just a little numbers for your benefit, I guess. 29 seals the first year. We had a lot of excitement behind this the first year. 2020 and 2021, we understand, but we're back. We're getting more students to test every day. I literally just tested a student today at West who tested out of his ELL, which is an amazing celebration. So we've given the test 48 students this year, which is obviously a big growth in students being tested. And I do have test scores still waiting to come in. It's just the volume of testing, they're coming in very slow and trickling. So hopefully I will be able to raise that number each day, actually. So, and just to reference, we have so far been able to give the seal in 3 languages, French, Vietnamese, and Spanish. There is an option for students who don't speak one of those. I have a student who is fluent in Hungarian. There's a different process for that, but it is possible. So I work closely with the ELL department. I kind of knock on their door and say, where are the ALPA scores and who can I contact and kind of persuade into testing. So that is one area for improvement that I'm personally working on, is finding more of our languages. We have 29 languages represented in Davenport. So how do we get more languages within that scope of what we test for? And just an interesting number, people come to me and they're like, oh, well, I can't take the seal of biliteracy because I didn't grow up speaking Spanish, whatever the language. 56% of our kids learned their language within the Davenport schools. So 56% of our kids, that's from our amazing teachers. We've really raised the bar, especially since this seal came in, getting kids to read, write, speak, and understand in that language. So I think that's a really good celebration for my department. The heritage or native speaking, we have 36 seals for those, which is a great celebration. A lot of those kids did come from the ELL side, so that's a great celebration for them. And I want to blow this out of the water each and every year. So while they're here, by the way, I'm sorry, I hate making these poor kids wait. I just want to recognize the kids that are here. Is that okay with you? Because again, these are some really awesome kids. They did a great job, again, maintaining proficiency in English and their language. So some of them might have left already. Sorry, some of them were already up here once. We had Clarissa Balk. Yes, Clarissa, you guys can just stand and wave. Is that good? Clarissa Balk. You guys are great. Vanessa Chavez. Vanessa's not here. No. Melissa Herrera. Nope. Kyle Hopewell. I think I saw him walk out. Holly Dahlman. She is here. Marissa Stofa is here. Christian Aguilera. He is here. Awesome. Our very own Brianna Alexiashik. Yes. I can spell her name, by the way. I'm really proud of myself. Eric Chavez. Did not see Eric today. Eric Chavez. Okay. Nope. Bailey Emery. Did not see her. Okay. Riley Irwin. Yep. Evan Fornal. Oh. Diana Garcia Castel. There she is. Brian Garcia Rodriguez. Nope, that's okay. Daisy Gomez. Oh, T Win. There she is. And we have Vu Win. And Nufan. I didn't see her. Jocelyn Rebelioso. Nope. And Abigail Talkin. So really awesome job, guys. Super proud of these kids. They worked really hard for this. Oh, do you guys want to come up for a quick photo op? Awesome. Yes. Oh, yeah, just an FYI, Holly's wearing the medal.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
She's in front.
That medal might be the biggest medal they get at graduation. It's bigger than 4.0. It's bigger than the NHS thing. I'm just saying, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Shaver, we get it.
Say bilingual.
Nice job. Congratulations.
And I'm going to let them finish the other half of the presentation, but if you guys have questions, I do welcome that.
So thank you for letting us go a little bit of out of order. We definitely wanted to recognize our awesome Seal of Biliteracy winners. And thanks for excusing me for coming up. I was so excited about our Seal of Biliteracy winners that I cut in front of the student board members. So student board members, I apologize for that. So we're going to swing back now to the second part of our presentation. And what we would like to share with the board and our audience is just a bit of an overview about our English learner achievement. And so our intended outcomes today for you are that we are going to look at the current state of our students who are English learners and their achievement, and that is step one of that continuous improvement process, and then show you where we're going from there. And then our third intended outcome was to talk about the Seal of Biliteracy. So we've just went a little bit out of order for you. And also we have a lot of information. We could talk all night about English learners. They're amazing, and our program and our staff in our program are amazing. I'm sitting next to two amazing humans in our district. But we had to keep this within the time confines. So you do have an ESL cheat sheet that we include with the board notes. It has a lot of information about the nuances of our program. So a lot of good information can be found there. It's linked, I believe, on the board notes that anybody could look at, but we're just going to give you some highlights of where we are right now. So again, our first step is to determine the current state of our DCSD support for English learners. And my name is Jen Van Fleet. I'm your state and federal program support specialist. And I get to wear one of my hats I get to wear with honor is helping out with the ESL program in Davenport. And I'm going to let the two ladies to my left and right introduce themselves. Again, they're awesome humans and work tirelessly for our English language learners in Davenport.
We'll go in order.
I am Megan Baldry, and I am the elementary ESL coach for the district.
I'm Amanda Schwartzoff, and I'm the secondary EL coach for the district.
And that is a very short title for a very long job description these ladies have. They support our staff as a coach would, but they are also working every day, all day to support all of our English language learners and their families. They will not tell you all the things that they do, but I get to witness this, and they're amazing. So as far as where we wanted to present for the continuous improvement process for the English language department, we thought we would start off by, at step one, determining our current state. This was my first year supporting the English language department. So a lot of my work this year was looking at where we want to go, and what's the gap between where we are and where we want to go. So this has been a big learning year for me. And so I'm going to share a little bit of what I've learned, and some celebrations along the way, and kind of carve out where we want to go from there. So one of the big goals you'll see repeated at the top of our slides is a goal that is a major goal in our district's LAO plan, which is our plan that describes our ESL program in detail. And so I'll read this out loud too because it's an important goal, and it's also, spoiler alert, going to be one of our celebrations that we share here in a couple slides. Our goal is the percentage of ELs, and ELs is short for English learners, showing growth in a domain, and we'll explain by what we mean by domain, will grow by 10% as shown by the ELPA 21, and we'll explain what that means, summative assessment results. So there's some unpacking we need to do here, which is what we're going to do as we go on to the next slides here.
The ELPA 21 is our yearly test that our students, our ELs, take every year. They begin to enter our program. They take what is called the screener, the ELPA 21 screener, and that enters them into the program. And then every year between February and March, they take the ELPA summative test. And the ELPA test is in 4 different domains. They do 4 separate tests, one for reading, one for speaking, one for listening, and one for writing. They can score anywhere from a 1, which is a beginning score, to a 5, which is an advanced score in each domain. Every year, we want them to grow in at least one of those domains. And this table here shows the growth. This year, we had 35% of our students show growth in the domain of reading, which is up 15% from last year. 32% showed growth in speaking. 37 showed growth in listening, and 38% of our students showed growth in writing, which was up 28%. Actually, the math there is wrong. It's not 18%, but up 28% from the previous year. Across the bottom, you see that nearly 9% of our students scored proficient this year on that ELPA 21 exam, which shows that they have exited our ESL program. They are proficient in English now.
Sorry, newbie here. Those were the results. This is the visual about how we make that happen. As Megan already said, they're identified through a screener and then annually assessed in those domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And the way that we ensure that that growth continues to happen is push-in support in content and grade level classrooms. When language acquisition needs to be a little bit more intense, we pull out. We have newcomer support. That is at Williams and West. Those are where we provide specially designed courses for students at the secondary level who are new to an English-speaking school. And students also have choice to attend their neighborhood schools where all language learners have the culturally responsive instructional strategies provided for them.
And just a couple things as we move forward towards the next steps of the continuous improvement process is the total score that we get as a district or for individual schools on that ELPA result weighs in at 10% of that ESSA weighting on those Iowa school performance profiles. So it's an incredibly important metric. It's also incredibly important to our students as they're acclimating to our schools and they're building their identity and they're growing in their neighborhoods and flourishing in our communities. We want to help them make every pathway possible and they flourish in our program. We've got amazing kids and amazing staff. So the next pieces that we want to do here as we move forward as a system is look at the second and third steps in the continuous improvement process. So we are actively working on a really thorough program evaluation in conjunction with the Title III consultants at the Mississippi Bend AEA. And so we are actively looking at steps 2 and 3. So we're identifying strengths and barriers, what's working well, what do we want to enhance, what do we want to change up so we can better serve our students, and how do we go about forming our LAO plan so that those things can happen. And then our step 3 is create a plan. Every year, every district is required to have what's called the LAO plan posted. You can find ours posted on the website. It's also linked on your handout if you would like to look at that. And it really goes into details about what is it we're prioritizing, from how many minutes of service do our students receive to what kind of curriculum do they receive and what kind of highly qualified staff do we have in place. What are we going to do and what are we not going to do to support our English language learners? So those are some next steps. And as we envision what we want to strengthen and continue and change, the next couple slides highlight a couple items that we're excited about. Go ahead, one more, Brenda. So some high leverage actions that we want to either continue or start next year and in future years. We have all of our pre-K 6 teachers being trained in letters, which you've heard about already when the early literacy team has come to present to you. This is extremely important for English language learners as well. We're working on language acquisition, and our ESL teachers are also receiving that intensive and high quality professional development. Our ESL teachers work with our Tier 2 intervention groups for early literacy, and our English learners get to work side by side their native English speaking peers, which is a huge benefit when you're in a language acquisition process. Our teachers are working on very intentional small group instruction focused on student language acquisition based on their particular need, as we see on the ALPA or from other teacher data. And we're always looking for improved opportunity for that content support in our ELA classrooms. Our secondary district CTTs of ESL teachers are working to really, at a deep level, analyze that ALPA 21 data to find out how can they support instruction, both for when they have those sheltered classes, but also when they're pushing in and supporting their gen ed colleagues. And we are continuously working on professional development for our English language teachers and other teachers in our district, including book studies, different conferences and networking. We are always looking for ways to interject language acquisition work into any classroom, because it's not good only for English language learners, it's good for any kid anywhere. And then just a couple others. We are also, not only because those English language strategies are good for all kids, they're also good for being culturally responsive educators. So we are working with the district PBIS team to make sure that that professional development is in alignment with the plan for the next school year. And we are also looking at what are our pockets of success with English language acquisition in the district. Well, who are the teachers? What are the areas where they're really seeing some results? And how can we study that to replicate across our system? We also ensure that all of our ELs had access to on-site summer learning opportunities so they can continue that language acquisition all summer and not have a gap in their work there. And then something special that we started this year that we will continue, we have a really great partnership with the Putnam Pathways After School Academy, which is fully funded for our 4th, 5th, and 6th grade ELs at Jefferson, Madison, and Monroe. They get to go to the Putnam 2 days a week and work on career exploration and personal passions. They get to do a free week of summer camp. There's all kinds of family activities. It's been a really great partnership, and we hope to see that continue. And did I miss anything, ladies? 1,000 things. Look at the notes we prepared. There's lots of information. And those are all of our major things that we're looking forward to and being yanked off the stage. So we would love to hear any questions that you all might have.
Director Beck.
Just out of curiosity, so let's say we have a student who comes to us out of elementary school, so 7th or above. How do we find out, does that student work with a translator so we find out that maybe they're very proficient in math or writing or something like that, just not in English, right? So that we're not accidentally identifying people for the wrong programs, right? How do we do that?
So at the high school level, there is a diagnostic math test that they can take, and the math teachers partner with us to see what their math abilities are. A records request is always made, and we can get those internationally. At the junior high level, we rely heavily on the FAST scores that are taken right away at the beginning of the year or at some benchmark level. A lot of the standardized tests can be, the language can be modified so that we can truly know what the students understand about the content And so in that regards.
So you mean the standardized tests are published also in, say, Spanish or Vietnamese or something like that?
Some are.
Some are.
Not
Okay.
all, but many are.
Because I know a lot of our math is based in English language, and so students who don't speak or don't read English don't do as well. So I guess, yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Those accommodations are made. We have ELL plans for every one of our students, and those accommodations are made so that they are followed across the board for classroom and statewide and even national tests. The ELL plans are recognized by the ACT testing board, and those accommodations can be considered by their board. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, I guess I said secondary, but I'm guessing it's the same thing for elementary age students as well.
Sure. And something that we do ongoing for all of our ELs, and then also when they're exited up to 4 years, 2 to 4 years, is watching all of their metrics. So what's their attendance look like? What do their grades look like? And if we see someone dipping, that it's not something that we hesitate on. We move in and help them.
Director Klein-Jerome?
For the Putnam Pathways, how were these schools chosen? Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, as opposed to other schools?
So that was driven by the Putnam's group. What they wanted to do was find schools that were geographically closer to the Putnam. We were trying to figure out busing, which became problematic this year anyways, but it was more of like just geographically closer. They would love to expand that program. This was the first year, so it was kind of a pilot with them.
They also looked at numbers in the buildings, and those are 3 of our buildings with the higher numbers of ELs, and so they got more bang for the buck out of those 3 buildings.
Oh, that's right, because we jumped ahead. Yeah. Thank you for, I didn't pay attention or I wouldn't have dismissed everybody right away, so way to put me on the spot.
To our presentation, right?
That was awesome having all those students this year, especially when you're able to add one. So I think Davenport does a lot of great things and has a lot of great programs. So hopefully people take notice of that. And I wish they would all wear their medals. That was pretty cool. So. No, I don't want anybody getting any ideas about me.
You can test them.
Not versed in that.
We can test you.
Yep.
Perfect.
And I believe you were a Spanish student in our district at some point, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I was. I don't know how you know that, but.
And if you struggle, we will help you.
We will.
Yeah.
I know. It's weird sitting on this end of the table and seeing people that were your past teachers and things. I wasn't going to say that, but you put it out there. I was a model student.
I lived next door to her and we grew up. I babysat her. So
Yeah.
Karen actually taught at my elementary when I went there. So thank you all for a great presentation. Oh, Director Gordon.
Sorry, something that you said triggered something, and I don't know if I can ask this because I don't know if it's related enough. Do you have supports in place for the families who are trying to also learn English while their students are English learners?
Absolutely. So we do several things. We have 2 personnel that are specifically dedicated to supporting our families who have a language barrier. So we have a full-time Spanish cultural liaison and a full-time Vietnamese cultural liaison. Those are our 2 biggest by far populations of language outside of English for our students. And so they're full-time. They work all the time just helping things like how do we go about getting a vaccination record? How do we go about enrollment? Hey, I have a question about conferences, or could you just come and be somebody at my child's meeting? So they do all of that all year round. And then we work with translation services as needed in addition for volume or just other languages. And those are people who could have come on site or be available over the phone or do a video meeting or help with written translations. Yep. So we have a lot of good people helping.
Director Beck.
That reminded me of something else that we talked about last year, getting all of our materials published in multiple languages right away. And I don't know if maybe our other presentations are going to get to that, but how are we doing on that now that we have, sort of an idea of all the different languages that are coming into our district?
So we have updated this year some translation guidance for everybody. So making sure things like that would be posted on the district website, that's automatically done through our translation company, all the way down to, hey, I'm a teacher, I need to send a note home to this family who I know speaks French. So we've given just different entryways into getting translation. And I can just tell you, by the budget that we've spent by translations this year, people are becoming more and more knowledgeable about the translation services, which is great that we're accommodating those families. So we definitely always have room to grow as far as getting those communications out in people's first language. But we're getting better and better at that.
That's why I always go last, because then I spark more. Thank you, ladies. We appreciate your presentation. Thank you all as well.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the time.
Student board reports. We will start on Sarah's end and work our way down.
Okay, so at West, the Beacon Eye newspaper released its fourth and final print of the school year last Friday. Topics from seniors to pronouns to summer activities and so much more are covered within this issue. The Shaheen Yearbook also received their books last week, in which they've been working on all year. Those will be handed out starting this week to seniors and then next week to the rest of the student body. The boys and girls track team competed at state from May 19th to May 21st. Idris Thomas, a sophomore, placed 3rd out of 24 in high jump, and junior Ashton Ermy placed 11th. Senior Nazion Carruthers placed 6th in the 100-meter finals and 8th in the 200-meter finals, and he was actually ranked at some point this season number 1 in the state, which is really awesome. Both girls and boys shuttle hurdle relay team also qualified for state, with the girls team beating a personal record. Junior Alexandria Peterson and senior Ashley Smith both ran amazing 100-meter hurdles, with Alexandria also beating a personal record. Smith also qualified for the 400-meter hurdles, and Kylie Daly qualified for the 3,000-meter as well. We're very proud of all of our track members who competed at state this past week. West Percussion Quartet of Peyton Flynn, Nate Hagedorn, Ian Keeney, and Camden Richgruber received a perfect score at IHSMA Solo Ensemble Contest and also received a Best in Center. Since they received Best in Center, they were able to attend Iowa State University this past week, along with the Best in Center awards around the state to perform. So that's really awesome.
Not gonna lie, this week it was a little hard to come up with all the things going on because it's the end of the year and everybody's ready for like baseball, softball. Oh, speaking of that, softball season openers tonight. Good luck to the girls. They were playing Iowa City Liberty, I think. Something in Iowa City, but softball kicks off tonight, and it's the boys and girls at home. Head out there to the complex. It's super nice. And then for West High School, we are one of the 191 Planet Lead the Way high school programs in the nation, so 1 out of less than 200 in the whole nation's pretty good. Tomorrow is the orchestra celebration. They're ending their year. Thursday's the band concert. Next Tuesday is the final show choir concert for the year. The boys and girls soccer team, they played together this year, which is new, a new experience for everyone, and they just concluded their season last week. All the AP exams are finally done and have concluded. That's a big weight off of a lot of the seniors' shoulders. Spanish club last week, we had one of the best field trips I've ever taken in however long I've been in school. We went to Chicago, and it was 56 students, and that included like a couple chaperones. We went to Chicago to visit the National Museum of Mexican Art, and we had so much fun with that. We had person going around. We got to see Frida Kahlo. We saw all these cool things. And then outside of the museum was like food carts, and they had like fruit cut up with like chamoy and tahini. It was so good. A real cultural immersive experience. And then we also had lunch at a Spanish restaurant, and it had tapas, and they had like all this sort of cultural food that none of us had ever had before, specifically sangria, but with fruit juice. Everybody was excited about that. It was really yummy, and a big thank you to Mr. Gann, the teacher in charge of Spanish Club. He orchestrated all that for us, and we got all of that for a really good price for each person, and the Spanish Club took a little bit of the hit for us. It was awesome.
So over at Central, it's also becoming the end of the year time, our last week. So we've been really busy. First up, our girls track and field team had an amazing showing at state, qualifying for multiple events. Central was represented by Brooklyn Johnson, Lois Blackman, Anaya Smith, Dylan Moeller, Nazeda Block, Caitlin Carr, Lily Tackett, Ariel Johnson, Marin Crowder, and Kendall Smith. We had a lot of seniors come for like their last year running. Our boys track and field team also did qualify, but I did not get like exact names. A lot of the track coaches have been really busy. One just recently had a kid, Coach Sortlow, so they've been very busy. Also, Central, we had our honors and scholarship night last week. Over 150 students were recognized and honored. 14 students received Davenport Schools Foundation scholarships, as you saw earlier. 60 students received academic excellence, or a GPA of 4.0. 30 students received first honors, 27 students received second honors, and 39 students received scholastic honors. Among those scholarship winners, Lois Blackman and Sully Augsburger were honored as the 2022 Iowa Governor's Scholars and met with Kim Reynolds. Their photos with her will be hung on plaques in Central. The National Honor Society is not able to have an end-of-year meeting because there were tons of scheduling conflicts due to the end of year. Instead, students are writing thank you cards to a teacher who has impacted them during their time in the Davenport schools. And we are also, for NHS, having a snack sale where we'll sell like pre-packaged snacks to the students, and all the proceeds will go towards buying school supplies for next year. 19 of our students were recognized with the Outstanding Performance Award for choir at the Iowa High School Music Association's Solo/Ensemble Festival, and 7 of our seniors celebrated signing day for music last Friday to continue their music education and or participation at the collegiate level. So we're very proud of them.
As presented earlier, Central was awarded first place in the All-State Art Program. Some of our individual artists from Central were Jackie Verdon, Lauren Hines, Megan Cruz, and they were also recognized as the top 20% in their class. Senior Miss Matre Shikande qualified for Girls State Singles Tennis Meet. At regionals, she defeated an Iowa City player to make it to finals and qualify for state. The state meet will be held at Joaquin Neck Northwest this Friday. Only 16 individual single players make it to state each year. Four of our seniors have earned their seal of biliteracy in Spanish. Congratulations to Clarissa Bulk, Kyle Hopewell, Melissa Herrera, and Vanessa Chavez. Matre also was recognized in the Des Moines Register as a top 6 standout in the Southeast Iowa region for academic All-State. Go Matre. Our principal, Mr. Flynn, cooked burgers and hot dogs for the entire school last Friday, making it our first ever Blue Devil cookout. I think he left. Yeah. And then this Thursday, we will be holding our senior picnic at the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds from 9 to 1.
Thank you, student board members. We always appreciate your input at board meetings. We are all sad that this is your last board meeting with us. You guys set the bar very high for the incoming student board members for next year. Before I move on to board reports, are there anything board members would like to say to the student board members, as this is our last meeting with them? Director Gordon.
It has been such a pleasure having you with us every week. Not every week, almost every week. And you guys, whoever follows in your footsteps, have big shoes to fill. Thank you.
Director Hayes.
Again, it has been wonderful with you all here this year. You've provided insight that you saw. We've been surprised oftentimes by the input that you add. And it's nice to, make decisions, but to hear from the people that the decisions affect. And you guys have spoke up on some things that you really didn't agree with. And, it's kind of put a different twist on how I felt about a lot of things because they affect you personally. And each of you were open and able to speak up on some of the things that really affect you and your peers. So thank you for all that you've given this year.
Director Beck.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to hear your opinions and your thoughts on the things that we discuss. And thank you for spending your time with us. And also keep doing what you're doing. Keep asking those questions because it takes guts to ask those hard questions. And we need people to keep doing that. So thank you so much.
Director Poston.
I just want to thank you for your dedication. I know there had to be meetings where you sat there and were thinking, why am I here? Because some of this can really get drug out. I do have one question for the West High board members. Tell me about senior skip day. And tell me.
I already told you about this at the student-built house last week.
We went to Jungie Park and we had popsicles and we played sand volleyball, and yeah, it's their job if they miss schoolwork, so not on us, but
well,
it did occur.
You didn't have it in your report, and I was just curious what happened. I'm also wondering how effective my tax dollars were that day.
I think that senior skip day is the least of your worries for tax dollars.
Director Klein-Jerome.
I appreciate you taking the time for this high-paying position that you were in for this, because some of these meetings have gone very long and you've stuck in there, and you give us a totally different perspective than the adults in the room. So I appreciate that.
Superintendent Schneckloff.
I think through this journey, you guys have found your voice in a setting like this. So always try and find the best way to continue to be productive in this environment, continue to find your voice and continue to help your community. That's what you've done, and I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all again. We appreciate it. Enjoy the cookies and if it's lemonade or punch or whatever. Board reports. Are there any board reports? Director Klein-Jerome.
I attended the inclusion night for Special Olympics. It was a very good presentation. Shout out to ProStart for providing the food from that class. It was awesome. And I also would like to give a shout out to Brianna, who at the last minute was asked to speak there and did a wonderful job.
Director Poston.
Like Karen, I also attended the same event. Again, appreciate being invited to it and just the collaboration that the school district is going to have with Special Olympics. I think it's going to be very positive. And again, Brianna, you did a wonderful job.
Director Beck.
I also attended Inclusion Night, which was really a great event. It was a lot of fun, and I hope to see it again next year, even bigger. And what else did I want? Oh, yeah. So I also wanted to thank Miss Stallcup and at Children's Village West and Miss Guy at Jackson Elementary for letting me pop in and observe last week, along with Mr. Driscoll, who is not here anymore. I went to point to him and he's not there. So it was really nice to see how those two schools run. I'd never been to either one of them before. And so it was very eye-opening. And well, preschoolers are always adorable. So that was a really fun visit.
Director Hayes.
Again, I think we all attended the inclusion program. And again, congratulations, Bree, for your impromptu speech. And today we attended the State of the City address, which was very nice.
Director Gordon. I write everybody's name down.
I was not able to attend inclusion night, and I really wish I had been able to, but it was a busy week. But I am going to toot the horn of the Creative Arts Academy 8th grade steel drum group again, because Thursday night they performed alongside the University of Iowa steel drums in the RME courtyard, and it was phenomenal. Quite honestly, the 8th graders started out, and if I closed my eyes, I wouldn't have had any idea I was listening to a bunch of 13 and 14-year-olds. They are really, really good. And then the university played, and then they all played together. And it was just a beautiful night with really gorgeous music, and it really showcased the talent of our youth. And then they got to play again Saturday morning at the farmer's market in 50-degree rainy weather, and they did really well there. And every single person who walked past just had a big smile and stopped and looked and was amazed at how good they are for how young. So that was really cool.
Thank you. Any other board reports? All right, we'll move on to communications. Open forum. Open forum is a time for members of the community to give input at a board meeting regarding school district issues or concerns. Individuals who want to speak, please fill out an open forum request and give it to the board secretary prior to open forum. The form is available in hard copy for in-person attendees or on the school board page of the district's website for those who want to participate virtually. Virtual participants must email their request to Brenda T. at tbrin@davenportschools.org by 3 p.m. on the day of the board meeting. The board will not act on any issue presented during open forum if it was not published as an agenda item. Iowa Open Meetings laws prohibits action on any issue that is not on the agenda. The president may set the amount of time allowed for individuals to speak. The board asks that no charges or complaints be made against individual employees of the district or community. Remarks that reflect negatively on the character or motives of any person will be called out of order. No other, just one? We have one open forum request tonight. You can have 3 minutes. Let's make sure I don't butcher your name, though. Malavika. Say it quick, it's Italian. Okay. Malavika Shirkande. Boom. When you come up to the microphone,
yes.
state your name and
Absolutely.
address for the record. If it's green, it's on.
Did put it off. Okay. Hello. I'm Malavika Shrikande.
Devendra Shrikande.
And we reside at 10 Lombard Court, Davenport. We are parents of Maitri Shrikande, our daughter, who is a student board member. And we're purely here today to thank all of you, board members, to thank Superintendent Schneckelath, all the administration. It has been a wonderful academic journey that we have been with our daughter here. So many glorious things have happened right from kindergarten to today. She getting the Dooley, having those opportunities of she getting the Dooley scholarship. I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful process that the district allows, where a student gets the opportunity to literally, present themselves. It's an interview for your career. It's literally an interview for your career with all the principals and the counselors and outside people interviewing the student. So it's an opportunity that the district gives, and we thank you all for that. Sports, we have so many things, excellent things happening in our district. And I can speak just for Central. I know it's happening everywhere because I know what's happening in your schools too. I sincerely feel that we should make every single possibility to see that these wonderful things are highlighted. Sometimes we fall short when it comes to highlighting because it is so beautiful and we don't talk about it much. And I want us to do that because these students, all of them here, you are going to inspire the others who are going to come in because you are the leaders for tomorrow. And we need to talk about all this, not just sports. I'm not against sports, but we need to talk about this part and academics where we fall short. So thank you for all that you do. And thank you to the staff, faculty, administration, and all of you who give your time. And in this process of many years that I have been as a parent here, I've got this lovely opportunity working on various committees of the school district, and it has been just excellent. So thank you once again on behalf of Maitre and all of us, my family.
I just have a couple of small points to make. I'm not that wise as she is. One thing I've noticed is that we celebrated a variety, we celebrate arts and culture today, but we all heard the theme of community service. And I think that's a very important part. We appreciate all the hard work you do to inspire community service because if we don't help our village, who will? And another small point I noticed is, I know some of them have left, but if you noticed, all the student board members were girls. And the future is girls. All the best, and thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick 5-minute recess as we're coming up on 2 hours, and we'll be back in 5. All right, and we're back from that break. Moving on, may I have a motion on the consent agenda?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes,
I move the board accept the consent agenda as written.
is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Kleindrum. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Kleindrum?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on approval of bills?
Mr. President,
Director Poston?
move that the board, administration recommends, or the board recommends approval of the following resolution. Resolved, all claims presented to the board having been duly certified as correct by the treasurer, reviewed by the administration, board members, and they are hereby audited and allowed as just claims and warrants drawn on the treasury for the several amounts. Further resolved, the payment of claims and salaries be approved as presented for the periods of May 4th, 2022 to May 17th, 2022, noting voided check number 378569 for wrong amount.
Second.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Director Kleindrum. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Kleindrum?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Superintendent report.
I would like to present each school board member with a certificate appreciation. It's obviously School Board Appreciation Month. We, on behalf of our community, administrators, students, staff, we just want you to know how much we appreciate hard work that you do, the commitment you have to our students. As many of you know, these are unpaid positions, and they dedicate a lot of their lives to it, sacrificing family time, sacrificing personal days from work, and it's just much appreciated. And so I will have each one of these delivered to your seat before the meeting's over. Just want each one of you to know how much you're appreciated. Thank you. I would like to share, if you see behind us, I'm going to read this. Sure. I would like to read this. This is the inclusion of individuals of all abilities is our number one goal, a priority that brings together students with or without intellectual disabilities through education, sports, youth leadership. This developing partnership unites two partner Special Olympics, Iowa, and Davenport Community Schools with one vision: to provide students with the knowledge, attitude, and skills necessary to create and sustain school communities that promote acceptance, inclusion, and respect. And as you can see, we had members of our school board, myself, members from Special Olympics. We had students sign this, and we all promised ourselves that we would continue to move forward in an inclusionary manner. And if you look at some of the activities that are being done in our schools, it's bigger than athletic events. We watched a beautiful event between the show choir and a group of students at Davenport West, and this is the goal. What you're going to see to come is you're going to see me in a dunk tank. You're going to see people doing freezing for a reason. And our goal is to continue to grow this outreach. And I'm very proud of that. We had many school board members there, many staff members, and some families there. And it was a beautiful night. And we just appreciate the effort and the time that our friends from the Special Olympics dedicated to that. The last piece that I would like to share is that in tonight's consent agenda was the board's or the administration's recommendation to hire Mr. John Flynn as the Central Region ILD, Instructional Leadership Director. Mr. Flynn has been in this district for 26 years, and that doesn't count his time as a student inside this district. He's been a teacher and a leader in junior highs and high schools. He's been a coach. His wife was here tonight. She's a teacher in the district. And then you saw Peyton, his last daughter, speak and receive many awards. Their family is incredible. John brings integrity, hard work, and dedication to the Davenport Community School District. We're very proud to have him join our instructional leadership team. So that rounds out my reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports. Finance Committee, Director Poston.
We met last Thursday. To the delight of everyone, we met for 3 hours. Right, Jamie? No, it was a very productive meeting. We went over a lot of things. Kevin is going to get into the details on this, but a couple things. Solvency's at 15%. Revenues are up. Just as Kevin said, they would come up when he mentioned last meeting with the federal and state dollars coming in. You will see that the salaries line has increased, but some of that is ESSER dollars that were put in there for additional staff. So.
Thank you, Director Posh. Before we get started, for the board members, we have Tammy Conrad with us. She's the current principal at Washington Elementary School, and she's currently going through her superintendent's endorsement. And part of her activities are to help present to the board finance with a final presenting to the school board of a monthly report so she can feel what our cadence is like. I am her mentor through the UNI program, and this was an activity that will round up her degree. And so, Tammy, thank you so much for your dedication and being here tonight. And Kevin's going to be right here beside you all along the way. So,
thank you, TJ. Good evening. I have the pleasure of presenting to you tonight the April monthly fund report and key measures. So we'll start with the monthly fund report. I think Director Poston may have given part of my report away, but that's okay. As we look at the statement of revenues and expenditures, beginning with local revenues, we are ahead of last year at this time. We have received our second property tax payment, and we could see another small payment as late tax payments are made. Go down to the federal revenue. We've received ESSER payments, which are reflected in the $9.8 million year-to-date there. Still outstanding, though, are the third quarter ESSER payments totaling $3.6 million. As we move down to expenditures, you may be looking at that and asking yourself, why have we spent almost $5.1 million more than this time last year? That's a very logical question to ask, seeing the difference in spending from April fiscal year 21 to April fiscal year 22. The answer is due to there being $5.1 million in ESSER expenditures for which we have not yet been reimbursed. We have paid out the salaries, but are still awaiting the third quarter of $3.6 million mentioned above, plus the April payment. In addition, when we think about teacher salaries, we have expended 8 more days this year than last year based on the teacher work calendar. Last year, at the end of fiscal year 21, teachers had worked 152 days versus this year, 160 days. This equates, it doesn't sound like a lot, 8 days, but it does equate to $2.8 million in expenditures. As we continue down to the surplus and deficit line, we now have a surplus due to that second property tax payment being made. And when looking at the fund balances on page 2, move to that, you'll see all of those funds are in good shape there. If we move on to the key measures report. Our unspent authorized budget is projected to be at 8.8%, which is a little lower than in March, but still considered healthy, falling within the acceptable range of that 5 to 15%. The other celebration there is we are projecting to be 2.1% higher than budgeted. And when we look at our percent of our unspent authorized budget, we're projected to be at 94% and had budgeted at 97%. We remain well under the desired 100%. And this is attributed to two large items, being we are staffing at appropriate levels and the vacancies we have been unable to fill, not due to a lack of trying, but due to lack of applicants. Last but not least is our solvency ratio. Ideally, we would like this ratio to be between 5 to 15%, and at this time we are projected at 15.1. Sitting good.
She does a much better job than I do, wouldn't you say?
Teacher.
Any questions?
Kevin, just one thing I would add. The Iowa Association of School Boards has recommended, as far as the solvency ratio, which is supposed to be between 5 and 15%, they're recommending now that it be between 7 and 17%.
I think these will get adjusted going into the next fiscal year. So you're right, Kent. I think they were even higher than that as a recommendation, but I think what you just said, the 7 and 17, are what they ended up settling on.
Would it not to exceed 25%? Would that 25% change? It's just 7, 17, and 25 stays the same.
I believe 25 is the same.
Director Beck?
Just because I have not been getting enough sleep lately, can you explain the solvency ratio again, please? Like what? I'm sorry.
Solvency is basically how much cash you have left at the end of the year after all of your expenditures are expended and you accounted for all of your revenue. We need that solvency ratio. When you look at things like Esther is a perfect example. When you spend millions of dollars every quarter and you don't get reimbursed until you file a report 15 days after that quarter end, and it takes another 30 days to get paid, you are 45 days plus the whole 3 months of spend that you're waiting for. Also, in the summertime, when we don't get state aid, we get 10 months of state aid. We need to be able to have that cash at the end of the year to be able to get us through July, August, and the first half of September before we get our first state aid payment. So those are two key factors that why we need to have a solvency ratio at that 15%. That's also why when these payments are becoming later and later, what Kent was saying is they're increasing that acceptable range. That's exactly why.
So it's basically, it's a measure of how able we are to pay, to spend the money that we've been budgeted, even though we may not have the actual dollars.
Correct.
Okay.
Fire away a ton of questions. She's in a learning curve here. Come on. You did a great job presenting clearly because there's no questions. So. The Data Wall Ad Hoc Committee, do you have anything on that?
I'm going to defer to Superintendent Snickler.
So right now we are working on creating our district one-pager that has all of our data on it that will be featured on the data wall. And I believe that Mr. Sloat put the marks on the wall over there for the approximate location and the size. So that kind of gives you an idea. And I'm sure that would be about how high Gary could reach over there without hitting the top part and bringing a lift in. So just kind of have to picture those in a square. But I think visual representation, I think, is pretty decent. And we're getting closer to the contents that would be stored up there as they are a part of our plan. And they are the things that we're moving towards every single day in the early areas of MTSS, early literacy, which would then equate to graduation rates, things of that nature.
Thank you. Legislative advocacy. We don't have anything at this time. I know we're going to try to get scheduled another round of meetings with the local municipalities. LZAC. She gets to do policy. I'll let you do LZAC.
There's nothing at this time. We were supposed to be rescheduling our May meeting, and to my knowledge, it has not yet been rescheduled.
Doesn't that committee need to meet every month? It's like a law, isn't it? No. Okay. All right. Long range facilities planning. I would let Director Potts do that, but he's not here tonight. We met today and kind of went over some of the different pathways and kind of talked about our meetings coming up, and then the community listening sessions to make sure, we're going to live stream all that. Mike was also on with us as well to kind of talk through some strategies, and we'll do some board workshops along the way as things go. And we stressed a lot about having all the community input, before and having the community let the board know what they want. So that way we're including them in the decisions and things like that. So we've been doing a lot of that. Did you have a question?
Yeah. At this time, Ray Architects, what are they working on right now?
So right now they are taking both pathways and they are doing the data layering things on top. They're also trying to find the predictable pathways inside of each one of those. They have it well worked out with the K458, and then they're going to work on the K5668 piece next, utilizing all the data that they have, and also putting together that cadence for what does it look like between now and August. And so that's what we discussed today. As of now, there is a prominent button. Mike's team put it on there. Right next, it's at the very top of our website that says long range facility plans. We didn't want anybody to have to dig to find it. It's right on the front page of the website. And that's where all of our information is going to be stored and housed and referred to.
Policy committee.
Sorry, we will be meeting in a couple weeks, and I believe our next big action is going to be figuring out how to proceed with our educational philosophy policy 100 that we discussed in previous meetings.
All right, we will move on to items requiring action. May I have a motion on subject 11.01, Durham contract extension?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board extend Durham's contract for 1 additional year as presented.
Is there
Second.
Seconded by Director Beck. Is there any discussion on this? All right. I'm going to go on the record. I'm going to vote for this, but they have a lot to prove this next year. A lot. And I charge you with holding them accountable. Director Beck.
As part of this, I'd like to suggest that we begin discussing options sooner than later next year.
Seeing no other discussion, I will call for the vote. Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
Director Kleindrome.
Yes.
Director Poston.
Yes.
Director Gordon.
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 11.02, Terracon contract renewal, Ahira asbestos management plan?
Mr. President,
Director Beck.
I move the board approve the administration's recommendation for the contract for the fiscal year of 2023, year 2 of the asbestos management plan contract with Terracon Inc. as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Director Kleindrum. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Kleindrum?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Postian?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 11.03, curriculum materials for world languages?
Mr. President,
Director Beck?
I move the board approve the purchase of a 7-year license providing class sets of physical textbooks and digital access from Vista Higher Learning for Spanish and French for an estimated grand total of $540,936.97.
Second.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Director Klein-Jerome. Is there any discussion? Director Postian?
I may have missed this in our discussion, but I don't remember talking about it being a 7-year license. Why are we doing this as a 7-year license and not a shorter period of time?
I'll ask Mr. Schaefer to answer that question. I think I know it.
You don't know how well anticipated this is. So a 7-year license, that was basically what we were given by our learning and results team that said, where should we have a rotation for textbook adoptions? So the idea was we will run with this in year 5 and 6, start evaluating our system. Is this something we want to continue, purchase a 7 or whatever length of time renewed license? That was just a time frame that we were given that seemed to give a lot of consistency and yet not lock us in for too long, so that if something needs to be changed, curriculum changes, kids change, times change, we have that flexibility to move after 7 years if something even better for our kids comes out.
So you don't feel that we're being locked in for too long a period then?
No, considering right now the book we got was in 2010. So 7 years is great for us as teachers. It gives our teachers some stability for a period of time, allows kids to continue a continuum. So we have kids that take 4 years or 5 years or 6 years, depending on how many levels they take. So we want to try to keep some consistency for both our kids and teachers, but also give us flexibility in the future. The French adoption, we adopted in 2012. We're asking for more of the same because it was that great that we want to continue it. So again, it's just the flexibility for us to continue to upgrade, to do what we can do.
But in this whole 7-year license period, then any will be available for any upgrades through that time period?
So like upgrades in terms of addition, if you look at the contract for the French, we are technically getting a 2019 with a free I negotiated that free upgrade to 2023 because we know the 2023 adoption or the 2023 edition is coming out very, very soon. It's estimated to be print and get to us by January, is what they're kind of guessing right now. Again, several factors at play. We won't be able to get the brand new edition with the physical textbooks, but this is a company that continuously upgrades resources. So if they upgrade their super site and provides different culture activities, those come out monthly. They upgrade their PD regularly, and that's going to come to us regularly. We get updated within the version we have, not into a new edition. Does that make sense? Any other questions I can answer?
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Klein-Jerome?
Yes.
Director Postian?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 11.04, flexing funds?
Mr. President,
Director Postian?
recommend the board approve utilizing the flex fund for the following: teacher quality professional development not to exceed $712,228, homeschool assistant program not to exceed $1,147,510, teacher development academies not to exceed $31,212.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 11.05 food and nutrition contract renewals?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board approve the F&S food contract for 1 year for prime vendor, a la carte beverages, commercial pizza, fresh fruit and vegetables, and milk, plain and flavored as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second? Seconded by Director Gordon. Is there any discussion?
I have a question. If prices go up because of gasoline, after I read the article in the paper, would that affect these contracts?
I believe some of them have that clause in there where we would have to cover some more extra costs because of that, but I don't believe it's all of them.
Okay, thank you.
Director
Would that be like maybe they put in some fuel surcharges in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 11.06, Aruba annual maintenance renewal?
Mr. President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board approve the Aruba maintenance renewal at a cost of $62,627.63 as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Klein Jerome. Is there any discussion? Director Beck?
Just in case there are people watching who can't access the memo, this is part of our network materials.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Poston? Director Gordon?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. That was to make sure everybody was awake in the audience. I'm glad to see a lot of eyes are open out there. May I have a motion on subject 11.07, move backup system to the cloud?
Mr. President,
Director Gordon.
I move that the board approve. We move our backup system to the cloud through the AEA IP pathways at a cost of $2,939.35 a month. The contract is month to month.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Hayes. Is there any discussion? Do I have to abstain on this one because I'm on the AEA board? Is that? I just will. Yeah. All right. Director Gordon.
Yes.
Director Hayes.
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome. Director Poston.
Yes.
Director Beck.
Yes.
I'm going to abstain because I sit on the AEA board, and I don't know if that's a conflict or not, so I'm going to have to check into that. All right, may I have a motion on subject 11.08 IJAG MOU? Director Poston.
Move the board approve the memorandum of understanding with Iowa Jobs for America's Graduates to provide services to Davenport High Schools at a cost of $175,000 for the 2022-23 school year as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Klein Jerome. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 11.09, Rock Valley Physical Therapy for Athletic Training Services? Director Gordon.
I recommend the board approve the contract with Rock Valley Physical Therapy for athletic training services as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Hayes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. May I have a motion on subject 11.10, policy for board approval?
Mr. President,
Director Beck?
the policy committee recommends the board approve, or excuse me, I recommend the board approve policy 904.01, transporting students in private vehicles as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Director Klein Jerome. Is there any discussion? Director Gordon?
Would it be a good idea to add something to the policy about needing to have multiple people in the car, not just one adult and one student?
I think that would be best practice, to always be in a car, or to always have another adult with you. I think sometimes the circumstances of which occur allow our principals and teachers and staff to transport. So I think this is more in line with our practice, and that's kind of the consensus that we went with. Is that right?
And I was just going to say, we did borrow IASB template language for this, so we keep it a little bit broader.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Director Beck?
Yes.
Director Klein Jerome?
Yes.
Director Hayes?
Yes.
Director Gordon?
Yes.
Director Poston?
Yes.
My vote is yes. Motion carries. Now we're on to discussion items. First item for discussion, subject 12.01, Lexia renewal. I'll turn it over to the superintendent.
Lexia is a reading program that we use that is individualization for each one of our students. It's primarily utilized in our small group instruction. It's a product that we've had in our district since its inception, which I think it states in the memo. It's currently a part of our reading block that we use today. To give you an example, a student will get on there, they take preliminary tests, they get on, they work through problems and reading and identification of letters and CVC words and sounds on their own level. If they get stuck, Lexia sends a message to the teacher, and the teacher can begin to work with the student. So what this product allows us to do is it allows our students to have individualization. It's a tool that our teachers use to also give a high quality activity for students to do while the teacher may be working with a small group or other things. There's also at-home activities with this as well. So there's a home extension to this program as well.
Director Klein Jerome.
Do we have data to support the fact that this is actually making a difference to kids versus it gives them something to do while the teacher's working with a small group?
That's an excellent question, and I can have a report put together to determine the effectiveness of Lexia. Obviously, if you look at our core reading scores, we need to make an adjustment. They're not nearly as good as they are, nearly as good as they need to be. Right now, this program is built into our core day, and so that's why it's up for renewal for us. We plan to heavily investigate this program over the next year or two. So I can put together some numbers and some data for students that are inside of our Lexia, if that would be helpful. Okay.
Director Poston.
I guess I need to understand how does this tie in with our other reading programs like 95%? I mean, explain to me how this ties in.
Sure. That's a good question. Lexia, and I'm gonna bounce back to letters, the science of reading. Lexia is highly supported, if implemented correctly, by the science of reading. So it goes from the hearing and production of sounds, and then producing, attaching a symbol to that sound, and then putting sounds together, CVC, and then putting words together to make sentences, and sentences to make paragraphs, and then it goes all the way to fluency, and then fluency to accuracy to fluency, and fluency to comprehension, which is the progression of reading that we're learning with letters. And it does it at an individual basis. So 95% group is a spot where we explicitly instruct that skill. And then this is an opportunity where students can practice it. Now, the beneficial part about programs like Lexia is they have earbuds in and they're getting immediate feedback. So if they get a wrong answer, they get feedback to it, and they can hear that sound. The key component to anything is that when they're stuck, they come back to a lesson that the teacher can give. So this is directly connected into, I would say, the practice of 95% group, if that makes sense. So when you receive a lesson and say cap, okay, well, where Lexia is most effective is that directly attached to that lesson. So in our pacing guides, if we are explicitly teaching those phonics, phonemic awareness phonics instructions, and then the students get an opportunity to practice that, and the teacher's ensuring that the students aren't stubbing their toe constantly on Lexia, that's where we see the most bang for our buck. And if you notice, I'm like breaking eye contact with you and looking into the audience. We have a teacher with us that teaches it and a principal, so I'm kind of verifying that what I'm saying is right in line. So that's how this program connects into it. It's a tool that our teachers lean on heavily to get the practice for our students.
That was going to be my next question, is just how the teachers feel about it and whether they think it's of value.
The reason why it's here right now is that this is something our system wants to continue. We've been utilizing it for a long time. Whether or not it's effective in the current system that we have, we need to continue to evaluate that, and our teachers are utilizing it inside that core block to a degree to where it's a good chunk of practice for our students. One of the things that makes this tool so effective is that we do have a high number of students. Lean back here. That do have a high number of students that need that practice. They need it, and so this tool allows them to do that. And I'm sure when you walk into our literacy blocks, you will see students utilizing this. And if you ever get an opportunity to stand behind them and listen to exactly what the program's doing, it's a lot of reps and a lot of attempts at hearing and producing of sounds and putting those things together.
So how do you go about, excuse me, going with this same program or looking at other programs?
So that's a great question. So what we do, our plan is to continue to move forward with letters from the top of our organization. And when I say that, I mean our cabinet level to our specialist level, to really dig in deep. From there, we're going to do a needs assessment of our core reading program. We need to, because it's not producing the way that it should. Okay. So you've seen in action over the last couple of months, 6 months to a year, where we do curriculum adoption cycles. And so we would treat this just like it would a curriculum. So we would put teachers together. We would review what's the best thing to do. We would use data. We would analyze all of those things and treat it just like a regular curriculum adoption cycle. The difficult thing for us, and I think we're going to talk about this later, is that when we decide to go with something, it takes a lot for our system to get up and going and used to a product. So the last thing we want to do is every 2 years change the product, have our teachers and students not be used to it. Because another reason that you have things on a 7-year cycle is you have students rolling through your elementary schools on that cycle. 6, 7 years, 5, 6, 7 years in elementary school. So it's really important to have a continuum, like something that's constant in their life. We do need to evaluate this program, and that would be the way that we do it.
Director Hayes.
When we take action on this, will we be expected to select option 1 or 2?
No, I believe, and Kevin, if you can answer this one, I believe option 1 is year 1 and option 2 would be a 2-year product. So the quote in there shows what a 1-year product would be, a 1-year option and a 2-year option would be.
So we would vote on it and then you would decide whether it be 1 year or 2 year?
I think what we would be bringing forth, and Kim, you might have a little bit of knowledge on this. Are we bringing forth the 2-year option or the 1-year option? Thank you.
I think the 2-year option is preferable, but we could get by with a 1 year. To Superintendent Schneckloff's point, the idea was we do need to do a program evaluation of this particular program. It has been in place, but we don't have enough time to do that right now. So we'd like to do it 1 more year at least because we focused on the core this year. A lot of our work this year has been around the core instruction. That will continue. But the next layer is what are those supplemental resources to help enhance Tier 1, but then also start to dig into Tier 2 so that we can support students wherever they are to move forward. So the idea is to stay with Lexia for at least 1 more year. 2 would be ideal to give us time to look at that data, to see how our kids are responding, especially now that we are really focusing on Tier 1 to improve students' outcomes. We'll be able to see how that works together and then make an adjustment if we need to in order to get the right product to students to respond to where they're at with their learning.
How long have we had this? Over 7 years? About 7?
I don't know the exact date, but I think that's why it's been a while.
I think it's in its
been a
7th
while.
year or
Yeah.
8th. Yeah.
I believe, and to add on to that, I believe we had it as a tool for many years. And then I think maybe 3 years ago, we said this will be the thing that we utilize in this spot in our core reading, which was what I described. So it became a requirement to utilize in sections of our reading block. I think before that, it was a tool. I think some districts were using it, some weren't. It might have been, a program that a title building had adopted. And so so I believe that's kind of how it might have been here for an extended period of time, but I believe we put it at standard practice maybe 3 years ago.
Director Beck.
Did we have data that suggested we needed to do that rather than keep it just as a tool?
I believe we did. It was heavily supported by the need for CVC work, by all of the FAST data that was coming that said this is exact practice that we need, and it is a very research-based tool, probably one of the most research-based tools. So,
Director Poston.
When you go into these renewals and that, are there any kind of negotiations at all? I mean, if we've been with them for 7 years, do we get a break for being with them that long, or is there any kind of negotiations at all?
So we are one of the things that I pride our curriculum department, our finance department with is they come at every single penny in these contracts. So before it comes to us, we keep going at it. As you heard Mrs. Schaefer say, she negotiated the free upgrade into the 2023. And so I would say historically, we have done a really good job of that. I'll get some information about this specific product and whether or not what kind of negotiating we've done, and I can get that to the board as well, if that will help. Kim, did you have anything to add on that? Yes, we do a fair amount of negotiating.
Is there any other information board members would like before this comes to us for a vote at the next regular meeting?
It does look like, if I did the math right, it looks like there is a savings going on the 2 years versus the 1 year then. Yeah.
Any other information that the board needs for this discussion item? Seeing none, we will move on to subject 12.02, Riverbend Transit Contract Extension. Mr. Superintendent.
So, Riverbend Transit has had a contract with us since 2018. They haven't given us a price increase since then, and they're proposing an 8.5% price increase due to a number of things. Since then, they've given wage increases of around 15%. They've increased their insurance costs, or had insurance costs increase around 36%. And of course, since 2018, fuel costs have gone up probably around 50%. When you look at a cost per student basis, in 2018, the cost per student was around $3,700. The proposal right now they're showing us is around $4,000 or just over that. It's a little variable based on the student and the location. So let's say you have 5 students in one location and they can send one bus to those students. They can obviously save some money for the district and be more efficient. But the more spread out the students are, and depending on the needs of the students, I didn't say this before, but Riverbend takes care of our special ed students, which are, I think last year around 95 students. So we would assume that between 90 and 120 students would be around what we have again. They provide transportation for those students, very specialized for what they need. So at this time, we haven't had any complaints or very many complaints about them. Randy Zobrist and Shirley Childers are in the audience right now, actually, from Riverbend Transit. They've spent the entire time here listening and watching our presentations and what's going on. So if you have any questions.
Josh, how come we're only going 1 year? Is it because we're looking at all of it with the other transportation?
Yeah, I'm just trying to do it right in line with the Durham contract. So I'm doing a 1 year extension with them as well. And then when we look at the next couple of years, we'll discuss what we do with Riverbend Transit at that time.
Director Beck.
So I know that you guys do very specialized transit. So basically, with this contract, any student who needs that specialized contract is transported to whatever school they go to, and you guys try and optimize the route. Is that correct?
Yes.
That one's fine.
Hi, Randy Zobrist, 3505 Wisconsin Avenue, Davenport. Proud parent of 4 Davenport graduates. We are prohibited to do exclusive school transportation. So that's why the function of our regional public transit system is elderly, disabled, and so the kids with IEPs are disabled, so we can do those, but we couldn't take all the kids for after-school programs and those types of things. So we're prohibited from doing that. So any of those pre-first grade 4-year-olds that have IEPs, we're there for you. Any other questions while I'm here?
Again, I'd like to say that they've done a great job. I don't hear complaints. They're responsive to our needs from what I understand. So again, thank you guys.
We haven't had to stop any bus routes or anything.
Not that I'm aware of. There could have been a couple
And their
of
buses all pass inspection.
I believe they have, yes. 100% the last 2 years.
So you don't have to spend any extra time when we work with them, is what you're saying?
None.
Okay. You don't get any phone calls on that either. All right. Is there anything else, any other information the board needs to proceed with voting on this at the next regular meeting? That went way better than the Durham one, huh?
Never would have thought. I don't know why.
It's weird when you take care of your equipment, how things work. All right. Next subject item, 12.03, Family Resources MOU. Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, we have an opportunity to, during the pandemic, utilizing ESSER dollars to partner with Family Resources to increase the amount of therapists and resources inside of our district. We think it's a wonderful opportunity, and the reason for it is the therapy that's inside of our building. It's one of those items to where once the therapist has a caseload, they can begin billing against that caseload, but it's really difficult to find the seed money. By initiating this resource, it will front load, put the resources in our buildings in a sustainable way. So it's an actual perfect way to utilize these resources to provide services in our buildings. And with these, we're focusing on our secondary schools. We currently have, I believe, therapists in all, if not almost all, of our elementary schools. Now, this is an expansion to our secondary schools. This comes off of an ESSER request from one of our high school principals, actually Mrs. Williams at West, to kind of garner resources at the secondary level that are very similar at the elementary school level, like family involvement liaisons. The other key component that this does is it's going to help connect families to resources. And that's a really critical thing as we start rounding out of the pandemic and people begin to deal with some of the things that occurred during the pandemic. And so this is an excellent opportunity. We reviewed this at the Finance Committee. It's a part of our ESSER budget. It's seed dollars. It's going to allow us to move forward, and we're partnering with Family Resources to do this. So we've had several meetings with Family Resources. Obviously, they are in the similar boat that we are. It's difficult to find people right now. And so we believe this is an excellent opportunity for next school year to move forward.
Are you ready? Are you sure?
Yep.
Does anyone else want to go before Allison does? Director Beck.
Is this enough, counselors and therapists?
We could always utilize more. This is the scope of work that Family Resources thinks that they can accomplish on top of what they're already doing. So we have 18 elementary schools, then there's 18 therapists already in our buildings. So this is an attempt to expand that. Does that make sense? And one of the things that we notice in this time, it's younger students are accessing this because they have their parents there with them, guiding them. As the students get older, they have a tendency not to access these resources. And so having them more readily available in our buildings will be a big bonus. The answer to that is always no.
Director Hayes.
There's a $20,000 IT laptop amount factored in here. Do we purchase new laptops for them, or is that software, or what is that for? Towards the bottom.
We would utilize this in a manner to where those would be our, you know what? I'm going to get you an answer to that. I'm not sure.
Can you explain or clarify a care coordinator?
So a care coordinator is one of the biggest problems that we have with our families that are in crisis is they don't know where to go. And a lot of times this is what we do. Here, call this card. And then that card, someone's not there, or they'll send them somewhere else. A care coordinator makes sure that if you're in crisis, that your family gets connected directly to the services, and it makes sure that service is following up. They're kind of like your linebacker as you're going through the system. They're your advocate. They're the one making sure that things are going the way that they're supposed to, because way too many times that falls down.
Thank you.
Director Poston.
I'm trying to remember in our discussion at Finance Committee. So when our ESSER dollars run out, what will be the game plan after that point?
Excellent question. So the game plan will be to each one of these people will sustain through their caseload. So whether it be their billing back private insurance, Medicaid, that's how these services are provided. So the startup money gets it going, and then the services that they provide that they can bill for. Thank you, Dr. Beck. They can bill for, and also the organization does a lot of fundraising to keep them going. So the other great part about this is they're not on our books. They're not on our payroll. They're not our employees. So so Family Resources sees this as an opportunity to get started, because a lot of times the problems that they have is the seed money, the upfront portion of it. And they're already positions that they have, so that it's not new. They have a game plan for it. And a lot of times they can get people going, or they can. A lot of the times the hardest part is getting people going. And so that's what restricts and confines us.
Just one other follow-up question. They already have enough people that they're going to be able to staff this, and those people, I don't know, do they sign a contract with them for however many years we're going to do this to make sure they're still in there, and it's not like they decide it's too much for them and they bail out in, 4 months or something, or?
Well, that's the difficult part. So by doing this now, Family Resources would have between now and the start of school to get that rolling, to get the training, the onboarding, all of that going. I will say that this industry, there is quite a bit of turnover. And so what Family Resources is learning, and have learned through the pandemic, is that there are certain things that they can do to retain their employees, whether that be pay or, benefits, whatever it will be. And so they're kind of learning that as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there any other information board members would like before this is brought to us for a vote at the next regular board meeting? Seeing none, move on to subject 12.04, utilization of ESSER position.
So this year we, as the ESSER process, finishing up 1, starting 2, starting 3, it was in a brand new cabinet starting. We felt it necessary to bring on an ESSER position. That position was filled by Bill Schnaden. Throughout the course of this year, that position was incredibly important, and Bill did an excellent job bringing a seasoned administrator to that position. He has created an ESSER committee. There's an ESSER process that we, as a matter of fact, as of early as this morning, we're holding ourselves accountable to, and it's become part of our routine. It's become part of our cadence. And this year, very sadly, Mr. Schnaden has retired, and he very much deserves that. And that leaves us with this ESSER position. So we did a lot of digesting what is it that we need right now. Well, the ESSER process is up and going. We have that in a sustainable fashion right now, where there's accountants attached to it. There's a committee that's attached to it. But there is still a great need for us. Right now, we are in, I would say, we're not alone, but there is a hiring crisis going on right now, and we can't process people fast enough. We're being reactive in that nature. So what we are looking for is to take those dollars, which were budgeted for 2 years, and create a position inside of our HR department that will free Jamie up to do the recruiting, to do the processing faster, to do some of those things. The position that is currently there that we did budget for 2 years, the current year we're in and next year, was budgeted at an administrative salary. What we're proposing is to make this a specialist position, and from there, this person will help manage contracts, things of that nature, which would allow us to begin to dig into postings, get into Teach Iowa, go to universities, things like that, because we have to be super competitive with the people that are coming out and graduating. Also, I would say the people sitting over there have done a fantastic job of working together, building better systems, but we need to keep improving, and we need to do that faster. Well, at the same time that we cut the positions, each department made cuts. One of the things that we reflected on is we cut 4 investigators, and the investigators now falls on HR. And so inside of that department, Jamie oftentimes will have to leave our meetings to go do an investigation, or Jabari has to do an investigation, and they do a fantastic job of them. So the plan for what we're requesting, what we would like to discuss, is to utilize the funds that are already set aside. It's not taking away from any other program, to create this position inside of our HR department that will help process teaching positions faster, process subs faster. It'll just help move everything forward. From there, we as a district would have the time to determine whether or not that's the position that we need, and then make the appropriate adjustments in our general fund budget. I think what we talked about, we discussed this at the finance committee as well. What we talked about was there has to be an exit strategy for it. And through attrition, we would end date it at the very end. So we are 100% committed, saying we don't have this position anymore, or making the equivalent cuts to keep that position. So that's what we would like to propose on the table today. Jamie, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I think you were pretty spot on, but it was the 3 investigators and 1 HR generalist that was cut. The challenge is, one, a lot of the ESSER requests that are coming through are for additional staff. So there's more people to hire. There's turnover. There's a staffing shortage. If you look at our monthly headcount numbers, we're understaffed in paras, custodians, secretaries. So there's a lot of work that could be done partnering with Workforce Development Center. But trying to do all of that while we're just doing the day-to-day is a struggle. There's an increased amount of work, whether it's workers' compensation claims, FMLA, leaves of absence. I think COVID has just really spiked all of this other people-related work.
Director Poston.
Like TJ said, we had a discussion of this at Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee feels strongly that we need to create this position. And as TJ said, that there will be an end date if something doesn't happen through attrition. But the HR department is overwhelmed. We need to get more teachers hired. We've got a lot of vacancies. And so I think in order to help with that, we're going to have another person there.
Director Beck.
Do we have a person who can do this already? Because there's staffing shortages everywhere. And if we can't find the right person or don't have the right person to do this job, it's not actually going to facilitate and grease the wheels, right? So do we have people who can do this? I realize we'd have an application process and that kind of thing, but if there's no pool.
Right. One, there are shortages, but in order to try and draw candidates, as many candidates as we can, we have to have recruiting efforts. So in a lot of companies, I know there's other school districts in Iowa that are hiring specific recruiters. I've got a recruiting background. Nicole Stroop came from private industry with a recruiting background. I know in meeting with Mike Vondern, some solutions that he has potential solutions provided, finding ways to draw people into our positions. Right now, we've got a very passive approach, but I also don't have the manpower to go out and do all of these because just the day-to-day work is overwhelming.
Yeah, it's not, I get that. And thank you for doing all of that. I wouldn't want to create a position and then run into the same issue we're having with hiring people, right? Where nobody applies or nobody who's qualified applies, and we don't end up solving the problem.
But that's going to be if we continue with a passive approach. So we have to have the capability of trying to get out ahead of. And there's always going to be the opportunity of not being fully staffed. But right now we can't continue doing the things in the way in which we're currently doing them.
I think Dr. Beck's question is are we going to be able to fill that position? Like if we post this, are we going to be able to fill that position?
Yeah, that's the
Not
question.
all
I mean,
the
this exact
position. This position?
Yes.
Yes. I think there's a lot of recruiters, people that this is their job.
Okay.
That's
what I meant. Like,
yes,
I don't
I'm sorry.
want if we create this position, do we actually have people or know of people who could actually do this job? Because then we're not solving a problem if there's not anybody who could do it. But if there are, then that makes more sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm confident that we'd be able to. And if not, I've got Nicole that I could switch around duties because I already have a skill set in my department that could champion that.
Director Gordon.
So you said that this position is going to be a specialist position, but it will be an HR position. Is it going to be titled specialist? Is it going to be like recruiter? Is it some combination of that?
That's a good question. In our world, specialists have lanes, and so this position is going to fall in the specialist lane, which is the position below the administrative position. And we have specialists we have a different range of specialists too, but it would probably have
it's like a band. It's like a level.
Band.
So I currently have an HR specialist that has certain assigned HR duties that are managerial, contract management, things of that nature. And this would also be a specialist, but then you assign the recruiting efforts, or I might need to look at, okay, if I had Nicole focusing on teacher recruiting, the other person could be working on the classified recruiting and non-bargaining recruiting. So it's all looking at how we could maximize the personnel to staff.
Keeping the position specialist allows her to, when she's hiring for that position, to match the skill abilities and, of the different people in the department.
Is there any other information or, no, I guess it would just be information, or questions that the board members need answered before this comes to the next regularly scheduled board meeting? All right. All right, subject 12.05, policies for board second discussion. Did anyone see anything on there that they had any questions on? If you do, I'll turn it over to Director Beck to answer your questions. Are you all looking right now to see if you do, or, oh, I was looking for some I got head nods. No? All right. And those will be on the next regular scheduled meeting to vote on. Administrative reports.
Not at this time.
Board requests. All right. One board request tonight. Name a board member making the request. Director Beck. Date of request 5/23/2022. Item requested is a request for information. Description of request. I would like to ask that the decision to remove foreign languages from the junior highs be revisited. Why are you making this request? We have limited resources, but we also need to be thoughtful of what our families want and need with specialized high school programming for many kids. The only opportunity to take a foreign language is junior high. In addition, families who put their kids into junior high foreign language are often the same families who can choose to move their students to another district if we don't have options. I read that in an email. We have willing teachers, willing students, and willing staff we should reconsider. When would you like this? ASAP. Is there a second? Man, and Bruce isn't here. Board reflections. Director Klein Jerome.
I am very impressed with all the fine arts students, all the recognitions today. The art teachers that spoke with such support for the district, the arts and the students, their passion came out. They believe in this district. They know we're doing great things, and they want people to know that. And I thought that was great. And the quote, "When one of us succeeds, we all succeed." I thought that was a great thing.
Thank you, Director Poston.
Well, I was just so impressed with all the students that were here tonight, including our board members. It just so positive. And and again, as one of the teachers mentioned, or I guess it was, I can't pronounce her name, but she said that we don't highlight this enough, and we probably don't. And so I think that's something that we need to continue to work on. And one other thing that I failed to mention under board reports, Karen and I attended the student-built home open house last week, and the house was fantastic. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Peckensnyder for what all he does, and the 13 students that worked on that building. It was a beautiful home. The house is sold, and again, just a program that's so very worthwhile.
Director Beck.
The highlight is always this at this time of year is always the amazing students we have and the fantastic achievements that they've accomplished. And they speak for themselves, but we really do have a fantastic district, and hopefully more people know about it now.
Thank you. Director Gordon.
Same as the others, the fine arts presentation and the Seal of Biliteracy students. I'm so proud of everyone in our district, and I loved seeing how many students we have whose passion just oozes out of them. There's some of the district's many success stories, and we have our district programming that makes them feel seen and valued, and that feeds into their purpose. And I think that that's so awesome to see this room so full of so many of those kids tonight. It was really cool. But I also want to take the time to give kudos to our district's outstanding staff, because we are really lucky to have such passionate and impressive people leading our students and being such positive influence on their hearts and minds.
Thank you, Director Hayes.
I enjoyed the presentations and the recognition of the students, and I was extremely moved by the biliteracy program, that 82 of the students had completed that successfully, and some of them are even being utilized in the hospital. So, it just kind of makes you proud to think some of our high school students and, other ones are able to go in and help additional staff. So that kind of shines a light on the district that, positive things are taking place.
Thank you. Brianna, it is all on you, the last remaining student board member that hung out with us all night.
Well, I can't just leave early on the last one. I gotta stick through. Going off what Miss Hayes said, Yeah, we actually had a guy who's a current translator for Genesis, and he was one of my AP Spanish teacher, Miss Hansen's students, and he came in and talked to us about like his job and how he just had the seal of biliteracy, and he took AP Spanish however long ago, so that was really cool. And I'm just really proud of the other kids that passed the seal of biliteracy. I failed the speaking part for Spanish twice. It is so hard, and it takes a lot of motivation to keep going because it is a test where you can pause it and come back to it within a certain amount of time. But I'm really proud of everybody that came and is here tonight with the fine arts, the scholarships, all that type of good stuff. And I have one more thing that needs to pop back in my brain. Oh yeah, West High School. I'm really proud of all of the seal by literacy and foreign language kids because that's what West has become now, and it's not the negative thing that some people in the community think it is anymore. And West is awesome sauce.
Nice plug. Superintendent Schneckloff.
The student celebrations were just awesome. They're just an absolute bucket filler. I love the taking pictures. I love that there was a dad sitting right there, and when every time his kid would come up, was just beaming and glowing, and I think it was just a beautiful celebration.
I agree with all my colleagues. I think the recognitions and presentations were awesome. I've never seen the boardroom packed that full, and it's awesome to see parents, other students, staff come out to support their students. And I do want to give a shout out to John Flynn, who is the only high school principal that comes and supports his students all the time. I never see the other ones too much, and that's a shame because they should be supporting their kids. But kudos to him, my hat's off to him. And we got a lot of awesome kids in this district that do a lot of amazing things, and that's just awesome. Before I entertain a motion to adjourn, I just want to make everyone aware that the closed meeting that we had scheduled for after this meeting is canceled. We will not be rescheduling it. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Meeting adjourned. No.